Zoom. Before we get started, just a last reminder, we still have some availability for our speaker dinner tonight. You can get it on our website at thestateofanarchy.com if you're interested in networking and socializing with some of the speakers you've seen today and you will see in this upcoming weekend. It should be a really nice event. The Galdo's Catering is providing the meals. Yep. Just to reiterate, if anybody's interested in the dinner tonight, it is available on the website, thestateofanarchy.com. Our next speaker, you can find his work on YouTube under Benny Wills or Joy Camp. He is a poet and a wordsmith, and it is truly has been a pleasure of mine to have seen him perform several times live. Probably one of the most entertaining people in the anarchist community. Benny Wills.
Thanks. Fuck the government. No, seriously. I actually have a piece called Fuck the Government, which I've only performed once. Actually, no, I performed it twice. But the first time was at Anarchapulco, and it was well received. I'm not going to do it here today. Sorry. But it got me in trouble earlier this year. I was asked to MC another freedom-oriented event, and people found out that I was the MC, so they started digging into my work, and they came across that poem. And even the what's it called? The Southern Poverty Law Center, they got involved. And they wanted to keep me from hosting because they said I used foul language and that I was racist, white supremacist. And it's ironic to me because even though I say fuck the government, what I do is utilize all language and all words. And to try to reduce what I do down to using foul language is just absurd. But it did inspire a poem that I'm going to share. In fact, I'm going to be sharing only new work today or seldom utilized work of mine. So I'm going to be reading it off the page. I usually do a whole memorized performance, but I thought about doing that, but this stuff's newer, and therefore it's more resonant for me right now. And I thought I'd take a bit more of a casual approach, and hope you like it. And please turn your phones off. You know what, just put your phones away. Seriously. Turn them off, put them away. They'll be there when I'm done. So this is called Words, Words, Words. And I dedicate it to censorship. I'm at a loss for words. No, you're not. I don't know how to say, yes, you do. I can't explain it, you can explain it. There are no words. Not true. Hence why we have the words. 'Tis the impetus they exist. To enhance, express, expound upon, describe, explain, assist. We need words. All of them. Every single one of them. Not of which warrants an omission. Omit permission and speak frankly. Be it whispered, brisk, or rambly, thus the privilege of shan't ever be forbidden. Even when one's got you there uncomfortable in your comfy chair, even when one's got you where you're angry and your nostrils flare, words themselves are harmless, emotionless, and armless. Words aren't warring, I'm imploring that a censored world is charmless. A word is just a sound. It's not smelly, soft, and brown. Can't punch or kick or drown. It's the energy infused you emotionally imbue it with. A menagerie of words, though, makes a man into a wordsmith. So be limber linguistically, have lexical complexity with spectacular vernacular and fantabular vocabulary. In particular, a word I like is one that rhymes with buck. It's a very special word indeed, and it isn't luck or pluck. It's a good word. It's a bad word. It rhymes as well with suck. It's a naughty word. It's a potty word, more versatile than truck. Consider, however, your usage of it, or someone's panties might get stuck. This controversial word is a noun and a verb, an adjective, a pronoun, and an adverb. It's a preposition, a conjunction, an interjection, and can function as a substitute for words that are determiners. So for illustrative purposes, I present this uckwords lingual services. F with an uck er is a noun. Apostrophe s to an uck with an f is to. Uck with a capital F is a pronoun. Make a verb with an f uck you. Describing with f adding ucking activates its adjective ability. F plus uck ed is similar, though f ucking adds adverb capability. Add for before f ucking to make something conjuncting. Connect nouns to verbs with f words for prepositive constructing. Interject an f with an uck to your little heart's content. Just be mindful of your audience and your f ucking intent. Now, all of that notwithstanding, and to curtail misunderstanding, a final point freestanding, sometimes it's better to be quiet. Thank you. The good news is they kept me on as the MC, and the event went great. It was just really funny to me that I was singled out as somebody who resorts to foul language to make a point. Ridiculous. Anyway, this next piece, I'm getting married in 3 weeks. Thank you. Thank you. Which is a weird thing, not gonna lie. I actually never thought I'd be getting married, but I am. And she's amazing, and she's usually with me at events like this, but she's currently having her bachelorette party in Vancouver, Canada, so she couldn't be here. But since we're getting married, we also want to have kids. And we feel like it's almost our obligation to bring new life into this world at this point, because if we decided not to, it'd almost be like throwing up the white flag and saying, this world's too messed up for us to raise children, and I refuse to accept that. So anyway, kids have been on my mind a lot recently, and I wrote this piece. I suppose it's to my future child, or children. Perhaps it's to the inner child. I'm not sure, but I wrote it, and it goes like this. It's called Little One. Hey, little one, relax and take the day. Forget about tomorrow, let go of yesterday. Hey, little one, I know you've lots to do, but time forgives, so time permitting, you'll have your follow-through. There's lots out there to blind us, little one, from the beauty that surrounds us. Traps set to beget forgetting, we are consciousness encompassed. Distractions cause inaction, and lust can lead to greed. Gossip seeds to jealousy, resentment fuels misdeed. So smile, little one, smile every day and often. If tears arise, let them cry till joyfulness reblossoms. Be patient with the ignorant. They know not what they know not. You too have yet still more to learn, perhaps still more forgot. Hey, little one, feel the grass between your toes. Let sand slip through your fingertips. Take pause to smell a rose. Forgive the ones that hurt you, and pity those in power. Their needs corrupt them absolutely, the taste of which is sour. But you, lucky little one, you know that life is sweet, that discipline springs to happiness, indulgence ushers grief. Take a load off, take it easy, let the world around go by. Let loved ones know you love them with a twinkle in your eye. It's okay to say, I'm sorry. It's okay to say goodbye. It's okay to say no thank you, but it's not okay to lie. Hey, little one, let opinions rearrange. Allow yourself abundance, humbly be the brilliant change. Take risks and be adventurous. Playing safely can be dangerous. Little one, hey, relax and take the day. Have fun, you funny little one. Enjoy and laugh and play. Thanks.
Good shit, man.
Appreciate that. Okay, so. Just- Okay, we talk about problems a lot, and I talk about problems a lot. I like to talk about solutions as well, but one of the things that people come back with when they don't want to listen to what I'm saying is they're like, who's behind it? Who is it? And I was like, they are. Like, who is they? You guys ever get that? Who is they? Yeah. Prove it. That kind of thing. Right? So I wrote a poem called They to address that question. They. I don't like they. They are ruthless. They are heartless. They don't care about our health. They are greedy. They are seedy. They rob us of our wealth. They deceive us. They mistreat us. They numb us with TV. They mislead us. They disease us. They say obedience is key. They put poison in the water. They put poison in the air. They put poison in the food supply. Then they tell us that they care. They engage in endless war. They send our sons away to die. They send our daughters away as well now under equality's disguise. They peddle pills to millions. They push debts into the trillions. They scare us. They impair us while they carpet bomb civilians. They teach us life is meaningless. They tell us all is random. They say have faith in scientists and authority in tandem. They are ubiquitous. They are omnipresent. They control the past from perches present. They plot and plan and scheme in secret. Exploitation, their great achievement. The puppeteering invisible all-seers, the profiteering racketeers of fear, the cult of death to which mankind adheres, they are behind it. But who is they? Satanists, Zionists, globalists, socialists, people who script the news, Freemasons, Disney, Jesuits, the Vatican, NASA, Netflix, the Jews, bankers, aliens, the Clintons, the Queen, the Rothschilds, Henry Kissinger, Crown Council of 13. It doesn't really matter, because the solution to they is we, us and you and me. They are pathological. They are pitiful. They are diabolical. They are miserable. They are wicked beings living wickedly, and their punishment is their wickedness. That's it. Thanks. All right. See if I can lighten it up a little bit. Maybe get a little offensive even. Okay, so something that's happened too often in the last couple of years is I've been told that my opinion doesn't mean anything because of the color of my skin. True. And also my gender and my sexual preference. So I thought about it long and hard. and I realized they were right. Gosh, I'm just so privileged to be white. Gee, I'm so darn lucky that I'm white. I get all the gifts and all the glory. I'm the king or prince in all the stories. Golly, I'm ecstatic. It's fantastic being white. Because I'm white, I get everything for free. Every bagel, bowl of soup, or cup of tea. I get kisses on my hand from the people on my land. I get dibs on every dollar because I'm white. I never have to work because I'm white. I never have to wish because I'm white. I never have to try because I'll probably never die. I never have to worry because I'm white. Being white means I'm above the law. Being white means I'm without a tragic flaw. Being white means I am loved above the rest from up above. Being white means I'm the best because I'm white. I don't pay for car insurance because I'm white. I'm immune to AIDS and cancer because I'm white. I don't wait in line, pay taxes, fees, or fines. I don't have to care or raise concern because I'm white. Suffering, I hear, can really be quite awful. So certainly I'm glad that I don't do it. Pain appears to be rather uncomfortable. Then it's good I'm not subjected to go through it. Loneliness evades me simply because I'm white. Hopelessness eludes me solely because I'm white. Depression steers clear because I'm impervious to fear. Sadness isn't welcome because I'm white. I don't understand you because I'm white. I can't relate to what you're going through because I'm white. I lack compassion for your struggle because I live inside a bubble and I've never been a victim because I'm white. Life is easy breezy because I'm white. Life is super simple because I'm white. I never have to hope because my life is friggin' dope. Everything is marvelous, everything is glorious, everything's luxurious. Why? Because I'm a man. We are individuals. We are individuals. We have empathy. Anyway, okay. Okay, I'll read this. If anybody follows me on YouTube or social media, they probably notice I use a lot of peacock imagery and peacock symbolism. I even have a necklace with a peacock feather on it. And it's because the peacock is my totem animal. And I did not choose this animal necessarily. It came into my life in a way that I couldn't ignore. It started popping up everywhere. The symbolism was just overwhelming, so I started seeing it as a sign. I started paying attention, and I asked, okay, what does it mean to have peacock symbolism in your life? And I looked it up, and there's 3 aspects of a peacock symbolically. One is presentation. Peacocks are performers. 2 is humor. Peacocks remind you to laugh. Their squawk sounds like a laugh. And 3 is alchemy. Peacocks will kill cobra snakes, drink their venom, and turn it into energy. So presentation, humor, and alchemy. I was like, that's me. Perfect. So I wrote this piece that I've never spoken out loud before in my first audience. And I think I'll make this my introduction for my forthcoming poetry book. Behold the magnificent peacock, for whom the world's a stage. Excellence regales his feathered tail as he peacocks through the age. He's the embodiment of wonderment, a reminder to be wonderful. His eloquent self-confidence dances darkness back to colorful. Behold the playful peacock, whose squawking echoes laughter, a recipe for levity to help you laugh hereafter. He's a consummate professional, professing not to be so serious. He lets you know that letting go restores for more hilarious. Behold the mighty peacock, radiant and flourishing. Behold him as he takes a snake and makes its poison nourishing. The alchemy of malintent made good to make him strong, emboldened by the venomous to sing his squawky song. I am the peacock. Goo goo gajoob. This is great. You guys are a really good audience. This is fun. Thank you. This is also proving something to myself, because I usually do a very rehearsed performance, and I'm just, like I said, I'm toning it down and daring to just read off the page to prove to myself that the words are strong enough and it doesn't need to be the performance that sells it. So, thank you. You don't have to clap for that. I wasn't trying to incite clapper. Okay. And this is my most recent piece, and this is an idea I've been batting around in my head for months now, because I feel like this is the crux of why I do what I do, and why I think, well, maybe not why we all do what we do, but one of the things we need to keep in mind, because we're living in very chaotic times, and the polarization is just out of control, and I'm so sick of arrogance. I'm so sick of hubris and arrogance and people being so sure they're right about everything. And everyone's being quarantined in their own little groups, away from each other, and no one's listening. So I'm really always focusing on how do I reach people, even if they're driving me crazy. How do I reach them? So I wrote this piece. It's called Build Bridges. I just wrote this last week. I hate that you're a slave and that your slavery controls you. I hate that you're intoxicated by self-serving, greedy values. I hate the labels that you claim and the ones applied to me. I hate you get so angry on the points we don't agree. I hate that you're unhealthy, and I hate that you're depressed. I hate your hope that money someday will relieve you of your stress. I hate that you don't trust me, yet you trust opinions on TV. I hate your trust in candidates when they offer things for free. I hate that I feel hatred when all I want is peace. Hatred is insanity, and I wish that it would cease. Decrease. Breathe in, breathe out, release. Beneath emotions, there is calm. Let your heart apply its balm. Extend your mending, loving palm, and build bridges. Build bridges. Break down your walls, build bridges. Life's amazing, but it's a maze. Lies divide, build bridges. The fight is hard for everyone. No one's path is smooth. Isolation is universal. Desolation can be soothed when you let down your guard and build bridges. Don't be so hard. Build bridges. Focus less on differences. Be patient with resistances. Shorten up the distances with bridges. Destroy disinformation. Implode indoctrination. Pulverize polarization and build bridges. I don't have the keys for you. I don't have the tools. I didn't write the manual. I didn't make the rules. For me, my bridge is poetry. But sometimes it's a smile. Sometimes my bridge is silence while I listen for a while. Build a bridge to someone, to many or a few. Build bridges for the people, and they'll build bridges back to you. And I mean that. Build those bridges. Now more than ever. Don't just write people off. Like, figure out how you can reach them. Because I got attacked on Twitter recently. I was called a 9/11 denier. 9/11 denier. That's pretty out there. That's like extreme conspiracy. That's like saying, no, 9/11 did not happen at all. I deny that that event ever took place. That's out there. I'd really to think about that one. I still don't get it. I hope that he just exposed himself for being a moron when he posted that. But speaking of building bridges, how am I doing on time, by the way? Am I like ahead of time or 25 and no, 5 minutes. Great. Like, way too fast. Okay. Speaking of building bridges, I posted this poem on my YouTube channel just the other day, or maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, and I was surprised with how well it was received. Not because I didn't like it or I don't believe in it, but because the feedback was really extraordinary, and I was getting feedback from people that I don't ever hear from, people who aren't necessarily awake, like people from past phases of my life, friends on Facebook who I haven't talked to in years, who I've been trying to reach with other work and haven't succeeded. So I posted this, and I got responses from those people, and I thought, aha, I've tapped into something. So I'm going to read it for you now. It's called Not Alone. Run away with me. Sing and dance with me. Hug, unplug, and walk with me. Laugh and prance and play with me. Hold on to me. Caress, undress, and cuddle me. Jump and shout and howl with me. Cry, get high, and die with me. Let's leave. Let's flee. Let's fly from here. Let's go. Let's get away from here. Let's live and give and thrive from here. Let's be carefree and free from here. Let's rebel. Let's excel. Let's leave it all behind us. Let's be well and bid farewell to the paradigms that bind us. Hold me in your arms. Gently pull me to your chest. Calmly calm my weary bones. Rest me soft upon your breast. Tell me I don't have to pay. Tell me goodness finds a way. Tell me kindness has its day. Tell me all of it will be okay. Take my hand. Let's leave it all behind. Arm in arm will disappear beyond the boundaries of time and crime and suffering. Cruel rules and people slumbering. Insane foes and forms of governing. Run. Let's run and run and run and run. Outrun our own existence and exit with the sun. Free me from the evil. Free me from the pain. Relieve me of the shackles. Relieve me of the chains. Let's go, let's get away. Go forth post haste with no delay. If you slow down, I'll carry you. If you fall down, I'll stay with you. If you lie down, I'll lie with you. If you bow out, I'll bow with you. Just stay with me. Stray with me. Sashay with me and sway with me. Never say goodbye to me. Never ever say goodbye to me. Never ever whatsoever ever say goodbye to me. Don't run. Don't flee. Don't fly from here. Don't go. Don't get away from here. Stay. Let's stay and change this place. Harmonize, reorganize, and change this place. Align divine within ourselves. Shift, uplift, and free ourselves. I can do it, I'll go through it, just not alone. I can take it, I can make it, I can fake it, just not alone. I can meet it, I can beat it, I can defeat it, just not alone. I can celebrate it, I can elevate it, I can accelerate it, just not alone. Not alone, not alone. You are not alone. Do me a favor to always remember that now and forever, whatever, whenever, that you are not alone. Thank you. Thanks. Wow. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. That's it, I'm done. If you want to buy, I have copies of all these poems for sale. Just find me if you want to purchase a copy for yourself to share with your friends to use as a bridge. Subscribe to Joy Camp on YouTube. Subscribe to Benny Wills on YouTube. And friend me on Facebook, whatever. Follow me on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. Let's be friends. Thank you.
Let's hear it one more time for Benny, please. Our next speaker has been a dating coach for over 10 years, a stand-up comedian for 20, and a hater of government for 40, I'm told. the founder of the Infinite Man Summit. We have Sasha Dagane.
I was gonna hug him. I was gonna hug the guy. All right. Well, being a comedian, I don't like to stand around like that, so. How y'all doing? That was mediocre, guys. Do I have to open with all the people that hate the government? Make some noise! I gotta trick you. When I was doing comedy in the UK, I'm Canadian, so I'd always go up there and I'd pretend to be American. I'd be like, come on, yeah, America #1, we rule, wah! And they'd get angry. I'd be like, it's not my fault. Oh, the wars, the Iraqis, they stole our oil and we have to go get it back. And I'd just be an asshole and they'd hate me. And I'd be like, everybody, and they'd just hate me. And then I'd be like, and as I really got to that peak of hate, I'd be like, yeah, anyway, so I am Canadian. And it was good. So there you go. It was good. Anyway, so I'm Sasha. I've had a wild. Anybody know who I am at all? Just curious. Okay, I'll take it. Even one person, I'd be like, good enough for the ego. Good enough. Yes, I'm significant. I've had a really wild journey. I've always hated the rules and I've always seen it's all a bunch of bullshit. And in my journey, I've realized. And by the way, who likes their freedom? In the last few years, I've realized that freedom, as much as it's wonderful when the governments collapse and they just go to complete shit and we all just treat each other like human beings with love and respect and we come from a much higher place than they're coming from, as much as that's going to be great, we don't have to wait for that to happen to have freedom. What I've realized is freedom is here and here. It's not about what happens out there. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. But at first, I thought I'd do a little bit, and this guy knows what I'm talking about. I thought I'd just tell a little bit about myself, because I've been through a crazy journey. So, from Toronto originally. Canadian people? Yeah! That's right. Communists, all of them. Communists. Fuck them. I don't know why I say that. So I'm from Toronto. I had a really tough start. Like, I had a really tough childhood. Anybody just had a really tough, I just want to know where my people are at. Like, who, physical abuse, psychological abuse, please put your hands in the air. Just a few. Really? Well, fuck the rest of you assholes. Fuck you with your happy childhood. Fucking assholes. I hate them. No, fuck these guys. Had it easy and shit. I had a really shitty time, man. Seriously, my mom was like a raging, like, she was kind of like crazy, but not like a manic depressive, but like a manic rageaholic. So she would just yell at me and like throw boots at me. Like, no matter what I did, it didn't matter what I did. I remember one time, it was like grade 6, I was writing my first essay for school, and I just made one mistake with the pen, and I stopped and I was like, shit, we forgot to buy whiteout. Young people, don't worry about what that is. I forgot to buy whiteout. And she's like, what's whiteout? And I'm like, that's when you make a mistake so you can fix it. And I never forget this. She looked at me dead serious and she just said, you shouldn't make mistakes. That's my mom, everybody. That's my mom. So it was crappy. So she'd always just get angry. She'd throw boots at me. I got really good at dodging boots. I was dodgeball champion at school for 4 years. That was a positive. She didn't tell me anything. She didn't say, like, brush your teeth regularly or, like, have a shower once in a while. I didn't get any basic information. She bought me, like, the worst clothes, like, ever. Like, there was a shop called Byway in Toronto. I don't know if anybody remembers it. It's bad. I had, like, $5 shoes. Kids would be like, yo, I got Nikes. What do you got? And I'd be like, I got made in China, bro. That's my brand, made in China. I had silver shoes. You know how much shit you get for having silver shoes? We're talking 1989 here. It's cool now. You get the shit kicked out of you in 1989. That's it. That's all you get. Who like had a dog as a child? Anyone? Anyone? A few people? Okay, guess what? Downtown Toronto, no joke, my stepfather bought me a goat. I'm not fucking shitting you. I had a goat! They don't do anything. They just shit these little pebbles. Hey, which way did Sasha go? Follow the shit trail. The guy in the silver shoes in the shit trail. He's down there. It was shitty. Like, I was the only kid. When I was a kid, my parents sent me to a Christian camp. Yeah, I'm Jewish. Thank you. Yeah, they wanted to crucify me. Surprise, surprise. I remember the day the priest found out I was Jewish. I looked up at him and I said, hey, what's the skin on the end of your knob? Too far? Too far. I shouldn't have done that one. That was too far. All right. I got you. I'm just testing. I just wanted to test where you guys were at. That's all. I had to try. I was the only kid I ever knew that was trying to get kidnapped on purpose. You know what I mean? Like I would just stand around my house and just some random dude would walk by. I'm like, excuse me, sir, do you want a kid? He'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, just take me with you. He's like, do you have candy? Do you have a van? Anything, just anything. I've got a really tight asshole. Come on, please. See, that's my second test. Look, that woman there, she just did this. That's what she did. I did it for her. She just, no, there's always one. All right, look, I'll stop. So, anyway, I'm in a funny mood just because I just came from a business conference thing, and I talked, and it's really inspiring. Like, really beautiful people here. They had great people. They're entrepreneurs. So I'm all stoked. I'll share this just with you guys. I had a great business idea last week. What I want to do is I want to start a cleaning business, but hire only multiracial employees. Yeah, I'm going to call it ethnic cleansing. Come on, guys, that's a good, fuck you. That's a good joke. How can anarchists be, that's politically incorrect, you shouldn't say that. You're fucking trying to take down the government. No, don't offend anyone. Take down the government. Don't offend anyone while you do it, though. Just be really nice while you take down the government. All right? Yeah, that's great, guys. That's real good. Yeah, good luck. Good luck on your movement there without offending anyone. All the governments with all their money and all the army, we're just going to remove all that, but don't swear while you do it. Don't swear. All right. Good. Anyway, so I just feel the vibe from you guys. It's just like a freedom, like people that are just, they think for themselves and they're starting to wake up. They just have that. You can just be more honest with them. They got more love. They're more present. They're not indoctrinated. It's fucking beautiful. I had a great conversation just with a guy outside here before I came in, and we were talking about sex and stuff. Anybody like sex? Just me. Oh, some of you guys. Good. And so I was a dating coach for a long time, helping guys who didn't know how to, go and talk to girls. Some of us need help. Okay, ladies, please. So the girls know. They're like, most of you need help, motherfucker. Not some of you. Most of you guys need help. That's what they're thinking. And we were talking about, like as a man, like it's one of those fantasies we all have. We all want to have a threesome at some point, right? All men at some point they fantasize, oh, it'd be nice to have two chicks. And I finally, even though I wasn't really into it, I like exploring with one woman. But recently I finally had a threesome. Thank you. Thanks, guys. It wasn't the super cool one everybody always wants, because all men fantasize about you and two beautiful women. That's not the one I had. It was me. It was a guy, and it was some other guy too. I didn't really like it. It's kind of shitty. It was shitty. That was a joke, all right, guys. That was a joke. All right. That's enough. I'll be serious now. I did come to teach something real, not just be an asshole telling jokes. So look, here's the thing about me. So I did stand-up comedy. I was from Toronto. I had a shitty childhood, and now I'm going to get serious. No more. I'm going to get a little serious. This woman's like, yeah, right. She doesn't believe me. She's like, yeah, you're going to be serious now? Mm-hmm. She's like, mm-hmm. So basically, I was a kid. I had a really shitty childhood, and I didn't have a lot of self-love at all. My dad left when I was 3 years old. And my mom was, not good. So I ran away from home at 15, started doing stand-up comedy at 17, and I basically didn't have any real support. I didn't really learn anything, no dad. My mom, I had a lot of issues with the feminine, because like the only woman that I loved, which was my mom, I had nothing going there, right? So for me, it was really, really difficult to connect with women for most of my life. So when I got a little bit older, even though I was doing the stand-up comedy, and that was really a great time, I still couldn't just be authentic with women, right? I'd see a beautiful girl and I'd be like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. Oh my God, she's so beautiful. Oh my God. If I could get her as my girlfriend, I'd be the greatest boyfriend ever. This is me when I was young. I'd be like, oh, I would buy her flowers. I would get her chocolates. I would be the best. She would love me for. And then I'd be like, okay. And then my friends would be like, just go over there and say hi. I'd be like, no. Just go over there and say it. There's no fucking way I can say it. There's no fucking way I could go over there and say hi. Anybody been in that situation? You see someone you like and you're too much of a bitch? Come on, guys. Come on. It's not just, even the ladies are putting their hands up. You ladies are worse than us. You never come over. That's right. You're always waiting for us to do the work. Fucking hypocrites. Yeah, these guys never come over. Well, what? You have no legs. You have no legs, huh? If you have a vagina, you don't have legs. That's the rules. You can't have legs and a vagina, right? Anyway, so what happened was, and so I never liked drink. Like I wasn't really into the nightclubs and drinking, all that stuff. I didn't really like that stuff. And so when I was about 25, 26, I had this crazy idea in my head, which was this. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go on the streets and just walk around, and if I see like a woman that I really find attractive, I'm just going to go over there and I'm going to say hi. Just going to go. See, people laughed already. That's not funny. What's funny about that? How is that funny? I am funny. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do you want to go on a date with me? Yes! Boom! Someone's getting lucky tonight. So I had this crazy idea, and I started going out there, and I started doing this. And I would just, no real rules. Just saw a woman walk up and say, hey, don't panic. I'm not crazy. You look amazing. I'm not selling drugs. I just want to come say hi, get to know you a bit. And I would just do this. And, you know, I'd talk to women. Some of them would like me. Some of them wouldn't like me. I went on lots of dates. You know, it was cool. It was cool. And it just got okay with rejection, you know? Some women are like, no, I have a boyfriend. Sorry, I'm not interested. And I'd be like, okay. But they never freaked out. Nobody hit me or freaked out. They just said, no, I'm not really interested. And I'd be like, okay, well, nice to meet you anyway. They'd say, yeah, nice to meet you. And a lot of women would be really happy I came up to them, even though they weren't interested in me. They'd be like, oh, thanks for the compliment. That's really nice of you. And I'd be like, yeah, cool. And that was it. So the thing is, I started having a lot of success in dating all these women, and I started going up on internet forums and typing like, hey guys, you can just talk to women. Like, you don't need to get drunk. You don't need to go to a club and spend $150 on alcohol. Y'all can just come up to women and say hi. And everyone's like, no, that's not true. That can't be true. That can't be true. You must be lying. You can't just do that. You have to go spend lots of money, wear the expensive clothes, act like you're super cool, and impress girls while they're a little bit drunk. Then you can fuck them. That's the way to do it. I was like, but it's not. It's not the way to do it. Anyway, so I started teaching this kind of stuff, and it kind of went viral. I put up videos of me just going around talking to chicks, and they went viral, and I started teaching this kind of stuff. And I noticed something fascinating happening. I would teach students this stuff, and after, you know, I'd make them do the stuff, and they'd be afraid at first, and they'd get over it, and they'd start getting dates, and they'd get a girlfriend. But a lot of the students, they wouldn't just get a girlfriend. They'd get a girlfriend, and after they got a girlfriend, weird stuff started happening. Like suddenly they would like quit their jobs and start the businesses they always wanted to start. And they'd end up moving to Thailand with their businesses. And I just kept seeing this shit happen. They get over the fear of rejection, get into a relationship, and then they'd go and they'd go to the gym, and they'd lose weight. Their whole lives started to change. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm just teaching dating, and all this crazy stuff is happening. And it took me a while to figure out what was happening. What was happening was, at one point, I guess this is around 2010, I randomly, during the beginning of one of my courses, this is a true story, I was with this guy called Woody, this Scottish guy, and we're walking literally in towards the town center, and we're going to go and do a dating course and go and talk to lots of women and try and get dates and all this kind of stuff. And we were all kind of nervous. You know, that nervous energy when you're about to do something crazy, like if you're going to go mountain climbing, or you're going to do, or like skydiving, you're a bit like, holy fuck, you know, we're going to do this thing. Similar type of thing when you're going to go and like flirt with lots of women, you know? It is. I don't know why that's funny. And so we're walking into town, and there was this energy, and just randomly, I told this guy, Woody, I said, hey, man, you know what would be really funny? There's a guy over there in front of us. I was standing there in front of his garbage. I said, go over there, pick up that garbage, like walk up to the dude and just be like, yo, you want to buy this garbage can? And he was like, what? I'm like, just do it. Just take the garbage, try and see how much money you can get for just do it. It'll be funny. And he goes over there, does the thing. I see them both laughing and stuff. He comes back, and when he came back, he was just, his whole energy had changed. He went from being super nervous to just like feeling really good and laughing. And basically, he'd just done something really stupid. It was just a joke, and he was just laughing. And he was just in such a good mood. And we were all laughing together at the stupid thing he'd done. It was just funny. Then we went and we spoke to the women. Everyone had a great time. And after that, that whole weekend just went so well. And I was thinking to myself, why did it go so well? And I realized the fear that we all had kind of just went away. And it always does. And this is the thing I've been teaching for years, this concept. When you go and do something a little bit retarded or stupid or silly, where people will look at you and something that potentially people might look at you and judge you for it and might oh, this guy's stupid or whatever. But if you actually go do something kind of silly and people look at you and go, what are you doing? And you just don't care and you just do it anyway and you start having fun with it, kind of changes you, right? And this is something I integrated into my courses. And for years now, I've just been teaching social freedom courses. And this is the magical thing I wanted to talk to you about today. How many times Have you thought there was something in your life you wanted to do, whatever it was? Maybe you want to start some business you've been thinking about for years, or you see someone you really want to meet and you think, oh yeah, maybe they won't like me, so I won't do it. Or one of a million things that you want to do, but a little voice pops up in your head and goes, nah, it's not going to work out. It's not going to be successful. You're not good enough. Maybe better not. Just play it safe. Just don't do it. Anybody had a little voice in their head sabotage them like that? Let's be honest, folks, please. Okay, about 60% of you honest people. The rest of you lying motherfuckers. Okay, that was my honesty test. 60%, not bad. That's like, what is that? Like a D plus? Not great, but it's not bad. And so this is the little secret I want to talk about today: social freedom. And this is what and you're going to think I'm a little bit crazy, but I'm going to suggest that if you want to have a lot more freedom and fun in your lives, you start doing things that are a little bit uncomfortable. So, some examples. And they're really fun. It doesn't have to be really, really crazy. But the foundational principle is this. That voice in your head, that's not you. It's a voice in your head. There's a word for it. Anybody want to guess? That's your ego. Yeah. You are an infinite being. You're coming in here for a little while, having a human experience, maybe 80 years, maybe 70, maybe 100 if you're lucky. But that's you. The little voice in your head? No. That's just a collection of programs, fears. It's just bullshit. And that little voice does everything it can to prove to you that it's in control by fucking you over. It's not really fun. And by doing these things I'm going to tell you about right now, you actually kick the shit out of the ego and realize that it's not real. When you put yourself in situations on purpose that are a little bit uncomfortable, you think you're going to die. Like literally, it's like that feeling of like, if I say to you right now, okay, we're going to go on the street, you're going to get into your underwear, maybe a bra if you're a lady, you're going to sit in the busiest street here, you're going to lay down, and you're going to high five everybody as they walk by, and you're going to be like, come on, and you're going to need 55 high fives just to get up. Who would be a little bit nervous about that? Okay, who would be freaking out? And guess what? That's not you freaking out, that's your ego. Because you're an infinite being. Nothing happens to you at all, just if people judge you or think you're weird or think you're an asshole. But your ego, on the other hand, ooh, it freaks out. It doesn't like that at all. Okay? And so what happens is when you go do the funny stuff, you think you're going to die. Literally, you think, oh my God, I'm going to die. But just like a dude walking up to a pretty girl and being like, hey, you're cute, can I have your number? He thinks he's going to die if she says no. Literally, I've seen the guys, I'm going to fucking die. You're not going to die. Ah! Like, that's what's going on in his mind. He's freaking the fuck out. And he's like, yo, can I have your number? She's like, nope. Okay. So I guess we'll see her. Yeah, thanks for asking. All right, good. And he comes back. How you feeling? Pretty good. I'm okay. Yeah, you're okay. I'm good. Yeah, you're fine. What'd you think was going to happen? I don't know. Thought you were going to die, didn't you? Kind of, yeah. No, it's fine. So if you want to feel a little bit better and just do whatever the fuck you want with your life, here's what you're going to do. Next time you're on an elevator, right? And elevators are awkward because everybody just stands there and they're all facing the same way. They're just there. So here's what you can do. Just face, so if they're facing that way, you just face everybody. You face them. You look them right in the eyes. Look them right in the eyes like you care. Don't look away. And then if somebody farts, you always take credit for it. You go, oh, that was me. Sorry, guys. That was me. Even if no one farted, make a fart sound and go, I'm really sorry. I had Mexican last night. Guys, that's going to be, you should all get off right now because that's going to be bad. That's going to be bad. Just do things that are a little bit uncomfortable, Here's a fun one. When there's like a Starbucks or like anywhere and there's people on the other side of the glass and you're outside, you just want to just walk up and there's people on dates and you just put your head up against the glass and you just do this for 5 minutes. They're all going to look at you and wonder if you're completely insane, and you just stand there. Just stand there. And then you go inside, and then you walk up, and then when there's a couple having a date, you walk up to them, there'll be like an extra chair there, and you walk up and you go, hey, is this seat taken? And they'll go, oh, you can have it, and then you just sit down and join them. Just sit down right next to them, and just stare at them. Just stare at them for a while, and then just start asking questions. So, are you guys on a date? Is it a first date? You guys having a good time? Is this guy any good in bed? When are you going to have a baby? Just be as awkward as you possibly can be. That's great. Here's a fun one too. I like this one. There'll be someone sitting there. It doesn't matter. It could be a dude. It doesn't make any wimp. Doesn't matter. You walk up to whoever the person is and you just sit down and you go, "Oh my God, I am so sorry for our first date. Man, I'm never late for first dates. It was traffic. It's not my fault. You look way better than your profile pic. You look awesome." And the person will just be like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And you'll go, "Is it me? Is it something? It's the picture was about 2 years old. Is that it? It's my face. You don't like my face? I could change it." I'll give you one more. A really fun one, come up to couples. Couples are the best. And just walk up to them. It doesn't really matter what you say. You could just be like, "Hey guys, you guys look smart." Just start any conversation. And then as you're just talking, you just start picking your nose really aggressively. And just maintain eye contact fully, like look them right in the eye and just be picking that nose and then you wipe a little bit on your shirt and you just keep picking that nose. And then you know what you do after you pick your nose for all? Eat it. Just eat a little bit of your booger. That's what you want to do. You want to eat that booger. And you know what, after that, get back in there and get some more. And then when you're done the conversation, you know what you do? As they're saying goodbye, say, "Hey, great to meet you." And you go for the handshake. Handshake, bonus points. Bonus points for the handshake. Handshake is the best thing. Handshake is the best thing. I know. So now you laugh, right? But you know what happens to people who spend like a day with me just doing crazy shit? You have any idea what happens? They stop giving a fuck what anyone thinks about them. They just absolutely do not give a fuck what anybody thinks about them. And it's really a beautiful thing because even though we seek freedom, right, we don't have freedom from the one person that counts for the most, from ourselves. We're always judging. We're stopping ourselves all the time from actually doing what we want with our lives, right? All the time. We know what we want to do, but we're not doing it. Why not? Well, other people might judge us. Other people might think we're not good enough. People might say, "Oh, no, it's going to fail. Don't do that shit." And it doesn't matter whether it's funny, right? Because when it's the government, it's like, "Oh, fuck the government." I'm like, "Oh, yeah? Okay, so fuck the government." But for the last 4 years, you've been talking about how you actually want to do this, and you have a great business idea, and you haven't fucking done it. What about that shit? "Oh, yeah, but it might not work out." So you might fail at something, so you'd rather do nothing and be miserable than actually take a chance. Yep. How does that make any fucking sense? Right? So these little voices in our head, it's our ego. It sabotages us, and you can absolutely fucking destroy that voice by going out there and doing things that are slightly uncomfortable. And it sounds wacky. I know, you're listening to this right now going, "He's insane. He's funny, but he's crazy." But I'm telling you, can completely change your life. Because you stop giving a shit what anybody thinks about you and you start listening to yourself. And your real self is you in here, your heart, your intuition, right? When you really know deep down on a core level what you want to be doing. When you're excited about something, you're like, "Oh my God, I'm excited." That's you, right? That excitement. Quick example of this, because people get confused. Like, what's me? What's the heart? What's the consciousness? And what is the mind? When you're walking around and you see a homeless guy, right, and he looks in bad shape, right? You're like, "Oh man, this guy's not good. This guy really needs a sandwich." And your first thought is, "You know what? I'm going to go buy him some food, or I'm going to give him some money," right? That thought is who? That's your heart, right? That's you. That's the real you. That's this infinite being that's not in lack, that knows the ultimate truth, that we're all one consciousness, and you feel love for someone, you want to help him out. And just as you go to get some money out, a little voice pops up and goes, "Why should you give this guy? You're not that rich. Why doesn't he go out and get a job and get his own money?" Okay? Who's that voice? That's your ego. He's kind of an asshole. He's a selfish asshole. Yeah. So, it's a beautiful thing to be able to tune into this and start living your life from here, because then you're actually following you. You're actually following your excitement, your heart, your soul, and everything that you do. That's what life is all about. So, I'd like to do a little exercise with you guys to get us a little bit outside of our heads and into our hearts. Are you guys up for that? That's right. You're going to have to get up, though. You okay with that? You're going to have to get up. You're going to have to get up, like right now. Okay, so here's going to. So all you're going to do is find any human being, probably the one right next to you, and you're going to face them. So you're making eye contact. Oh, he's going to make us look at each other. Oh, no. Not eye contact with a stranger. Okay. So, doesn't mean you're chatting. There's no chatting. You're just making eye contact. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So in this exercise, what we're going to do is a very simple exercise to connect with somebody, but on a soul level, to see somebody for who they truly are and get outside of our minds just for 1 minute. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. So whoever has short hair, they can be, actually, it doesn't really matter. Okay. All right. We're ready. Okay, excellent. So all we're going to do is so you're just going to make eye contact with your person. Just pick an eyeball, okay? Keep breathing. I know it's weird, and you don't even know this person. You're looking at them. What's going on here? Oh, it's going to get weird. And all we're going to do is we're going to be saying something to each other at the same time, and we're going to be speaking to the soul of this individual. So what we'll be saying, and I'll say it slowly, and you can repeat after me so nobody gets confused, okay? We'll be saying the following. I see you. I honor you. I have love for you. Now, really tune in. You're looking at an infinite soul, a being of immense love and power that's been here, that is for a long time, that's beyond birth and death, the true essence of the person. And we never actually get seen or communicate from this level. We're always talking from the mind. So now we're talking from a different space. So once again, maintaining eye contact, really feel into this. I see you. I honor you. I have love for you. I don't know what the joke was, but it was good. Okay, a couple of more times. No one's going to get hurt, I promise. But really, really just be conscious of your breath. Once again, I see you. I honor you. I have love for you. I see you. I honor you. I have love for you. Last one. I see you. I honor you. I have love for you. And if it feels appropriate, give him a hug. Okay, feel that love? That's a little love there. Okay, we're going to do, you guys want to do one more? We'll do one more. No one's going to get hurt, I promise. You just might feel something in your heart. It's called love. It's okay. All right, we're going to play a little game. So you can sit down for this one, and again, you'll need a partner. It can be the same person. It doesn't matter. Okay? Now, this is a really powerful one that I came up with, and and I think I normally wouldn't do this, but I just feel like you guys can handle it, and I feel like you guys are in a place, and I feel a lot of love in the room, and I just think you guys can handle this. But normally, I would not do this unless I was actually teaching a workshop, but fuck it. You guys, I think you guys can handle it. So one of the things that really holds us back in life is almost like this idea that we're supposed to be perfect, right? Like people are very, very, very reticent. They hesitate a lot to admit that we're imperfect beings. And the truth is we're all the perfect people in the room put up their hands. Hey, what do you mean? No, listen, we've all fucked up. That's one of the things about life, right? That's the exciting thing about life. We come in as babies, and we come in as pure love, and the system comes in and it crushes the shit out of us, right? And then we have to recover from that. But we're all not perfect. We're all human beings, and as long as we're human beings, we've all got stuff. And the power of it, and the power of really getting honest with the fact that we're fucked up and we're all on our own journey of growth, right? Whether you want to call it spiritual journey, evolution, whatever you want to call it, we're all growing and evolving, right? And so one of the most powerful things we can do is actually admit, hey, I'm fucked up, and it's okay. Because we're all fucked up in our own way, right? Right. It's really powerful. So I want you to feel the power of this honesty, just for a couple of minutes. So, you trust me, right? You trust me? I wouldn't make you do anything that was going to hurt you, right? Because I love you guys. All right. So we're going to play a little game. So turn to the person next to you or whoever your partner is. Okay, and with this one, let's say whoever's got the short hair can go first, okay? And it's very, very simple. It's not complicated, but when I tell you the instructions, don't think about it too much. Just do it, okay? And remember, we're coming from a space of love. There's no judgment here. We're just doing a little exercise to open up our hearts and connect authentically with each other. So don't flip. So this game is called I'm Fucked Up Because. And for 90 seconds, the person with the short hair is going to start talking from that space. Be absolutely honest. We're all fucked up. So guess what? I'm fucked up because start talking. Go. I'm fucked up because my mom kicked the shit out of me. I'm fucked up because my dad left me when I was 2 years old. Whatever it is, share. This is your chance to moan about how you're fucked up. Keep going. You can do it. Don't look at me. I know you can do it. This is all the stuff you've been hiding your whole life. This is a chance to get it off your chest. Why are you fucked up? It only means you're human. You can do it. Don't be shy. Okay, good enough? Other person. You made it. You survived. Other person. Here we go. I'm fucked up because. Go. Keep talking. Let's go. It's fun. It's going to get better in a sec. I'm going to do something. Maintain that eye contact. Be present. Three, two. Okay, you survived. Now guess what? Last part, get up. Everybody stand up. You're going to look at your partner in the eye, and you're both going to say at the same time, even though you're fucked up, I still love you, and you're going to hug. Go. There you go. Now find a couple of more people, make eye contact, and do the same thing. Find somebody, make eye contact, and say, even though you're fucked up, I still love you. Go around the room and hug 3 other people.
Still love you. Cool, man. I like it. Even though you're fucked up, I still love you. Good job, man. It's awesome. How'd you get an entire room to hug each other?
Fuck it, because I'm Sasha Dagan, bro. That's why.
That's the energy we bring in here. We love you no matter what's wrong with you, because guess what? There's nothing wrong with you. It's all in your head, right?
That is correct, sir. That is correct.
So good you made it in time.
It's
I
beautiful,
love
right?
you, dude. I love you, man.
Beautiful. Look at them. They're all happy and shit.
That's insane, bro. Like, who could? That is an intense power to be able to make an entire room do that.
Yeah.
To open up like that, bro.
All right, guys, beautiful. Wrap it up and grab a seat. We shall keep on going. All right, beautiful. So, how was that, guys? Are you feeling more love? Yes? You survived? Good. Great. Yeah, I came up with that exercise just recently. I teach something called comedy therapy. It's just a thing I started doing where I basically I have people look at their traumatic childhoods and just things that happened to them in life, and I teach them to write jokes and see how it's funny, to see it from the funny side, and then everybody ends up writing their own stories, and then we all go around sharing them, and everybody ends up like laughing their asses off at their own fucked up shit. And it's really, really empowering. And you literally laugh the trauma that you've been holding on to out. So this is one of the exercises I do, and I just thought it would be crazy to just, bring a little bit of that in here. Because why not? Why not? I'm glad you liked it. And it's okay. It feels good, right? We're all fucked up. We're all fucked up. But I love all you guys anyway. It's good. It's good. Yeah, that's right. It's called self-development, self-love. It's beautiful. That's what I've been on for about 4 years now. It feels good. That's right. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I used to be an asshole, actually. No, really. 10 years ago, you'd be like, this guy's a prick. You don't want to talk to him. You would have been right. You would have been right. But I've changed. Well, anyway, so I basically my crazy story. So I'll just do one little plug, and then I just was going to do a Q&A with you guys and just hang out a bit until they kick me off. So now, after doing all the dating stuff, and I'm getting back into comedy now, which is really exciting. And the one thing I'm doing kind of as my main thing is I do something called the Infinite Man Summit. That's this, and it's basically I get speakers from all around the world to come, and it's all about helping guys get into alignment with everything that you could want in your life to be happy and healthy. So health, wealth, relationships, purpose. Coming from that place that we all, if we put our minds to it, we can actually do the healing work, love and accept ourselves, and build the life that we want to authentically. So it's a really cool event. It's happening in California, October 25th to 27th. And people always go, can women come? Women can come. It's a men's event, so we focus on that. But 90% of the content is just about personal development. But I just happen to coach men, so it's the Infinite Man Summit. So that's really cool. And then I also have a spiritual podcast where I just interview people who are into awakening and self-love and self-realization. And that's called the Woke as Fuck podcast. And it's easy to find. So if anybody wants to see me interviewing people about loving and healing and waking up out of the matrix, that's pretty fun. So that's all my whoring myself out stuff. Oh yeah, and if anybody wants, I do have a free book on the Infinite Man website, and it's all about some exercises you can do and some mindsets where you can get out of this habit of like living your life by other people, what other people think. So that's free. You can get that, and I'm writing a book about that soon. That'll be coming out. But other than that, yeah, I shared a little bit about me, and I just want to hang out with you guys. And if anybody had a question or whatever, I'm just happy to have a little bit of time for that and hang out a bit, and then that'll be it from this big guy over here. Yeah, what is it?
I watched a lot of your videos, and some of them you talk about creating you can see two realities, like you're creating a new reality and you can kind of shift into another one. Is there like have you noticed that even more now about creating a new reality tunnel for yourself?
Yeah, I've had some pretty wild stuff happen over the few years I've been into this. How do you even cover this? Have you noticed how like we're all on the same planet, kind of, sort of, but some people are really, really happy and having a great time, and other people are really miserable and not having a good time? Have you noticed this? Yeah. So what's the difference between the happy people and the not happy people? A lot of different things. Yeah, gratitude is a good one. So what I've been figuring out is we're all actually creating our own reality completely. Completely. Like, you think there's just one planet Earth? There's not one planet Earth. There's 7.5 billion planet Earths. And whatever's going on in your head, whatever beliefs, whatever traumas, whatever you're holding on to, that is creating your reality. And, when you go out there into the world, one of the rules that I've realized is whatever you put out into the world is exactly what comes back. Literally. It's like you're literally creating your reality. So if you go out there, whatever you focus on will become what comes into your reality. And I've done this as an experiment. Like, if you go out there and you really focus on one thing, if you go out there and you focus on the color red, you'll see it. But I've done things like focused on, okay, I need to make X amount of money, and suddenly the money just shows up randomly because I just put the intention out that that's it. Just so many crazy things have happened. So the world is literally a reflection of your level of consciousness. That's all it is. If you go out there and you raise your vibration, I highly recommend everyone read Power versus Force. It's a book that talks about how you can raise your consciousness and your vibration, and you'll just be so much more happy and loving. And so when you're a higher state of vibration, the ultimate truth of realization is that we're actually all one being, that there's only one being, consciousness or God or life or existence, whatever you call it, and we're all just that experiencing itself. And that's actually the truth. And you ask anyone who's taken an epic dose of DMT or mushrooms, or any monk or anybody, I've been there. We're actually just one. That's the truth. This is just completely a temporary experience. So when you actually go out there and act from that place, and you just go in loving everyone like they're just another version of yourself, and you treat everybody with that love and respect, you enter a completely different universe. Like, it's unbelievable. Miracles happen. And this is why I talk a lot about the ego. When you realize that you're not the ego mind, you're not these thoughts in your head, you're an infinite being. That's the presence and a consciousness, and you're the love that resides in here, this infinite love. When you actually tap into that, and then you want things from that space, those things tend to manifest. Because when you're manifesting from the heart, you're in alignment with consciousness itself, with life itself, and things just kind of happen for you because you're in alignment with what is. When somebody goes, I want a Ferrari because then people will think I'm cool, and then I'm getting lots of chicks, and I just want to get a Ferrari. And then they're surprised they don't get the Ferrari. Well, why is that? Because the ego wants a Ferrari. The ego wants a Ferrari. The universe isn't there trying to support your ego that's not even real and out of control in getting a Ferrari. But when you really wake up to who you are and you're at peace with yourself and you go, you know what, actually, I'm good. I have everything I want. And you realize you're so blessed. And you go, you know, I just want to help other people. I want to help other people love themselves. Or I want to help feed people. Or I want to help whatever. And I want to make the world a better place. And you become at service to others rather than service to yourself. The universe goes, oh, you are realizing that actually we're all one and you're working with evolution, with consciousness. Then miracles start to happen when you're coming from that place. So you're literally creating your reality. And people with low consciousness below 200, they're just, it's all about themselves. More money, more sex, more whatever. And they're in a place of fear. And it's like they're alone out there you can't really do anything from that place. When you raise yourself up, you are literally creating new timelines. And I've had timeline shifts, like with friends, when literally, like crazy shit that is just completely insane. And you can literally go into whatever reality you want to. You all incarnate into this life to experience whatever you need to experience for your evolution as a human being. That's actually what this game is. It's a hologram, and if you actually look at the science, they've already shown this is a hologram. This is not base reality. This is not base. If you think this is you, no, it's a part of you, but it's not you. And so we are all here experiencing exactly what you need to be experiencing for your personal evolution. And so when shitty things happen, rather than getting angry, go, why is this happening? Like if you assume, try this for like 2 weeks. Just try this for 2 weeks. Whenever anything happens or any life situation that's difficult, just stop and go, okay, let's pretend I created this entire life for myself, including this experience. What am I supposed to learn from this? How could this possibly make me a better human being? How could this lead to my personal evolution? And if you actually stop and go, there's the lesson. What's the lesson? You won't be angry. You'll just get what the lesson is. You'll learn it, and immediately the lesson will go away. And you'll go, oh, that was easy. And then your whole life, you can literally start creating the life that you want because there's nothing bad ever happening. You're the one creating this whole experience for yourself. It's actually all just you. Am I getting a little bit too woo-woo? A little bit too crazy? Okay. Yeah, I've had some big ones, guys. I've had some big pops. So there's no one out there to blame. So that's the crazy thing. You know, you don't have to ever be in fear because you're only going to experience the things that you need to be experiencing for your personal evolution. If you don't need to experience some horrific, and that's why like shitty things happen to people who are really, really asleep and stubborn. I got one friend who, you all know people like this. They're super stuck on some idea. Oh, I'm going to do this business and I'm going to make millions of dollars, and they're totally unhappy and it's not working at all. And they're so closed off from source, from the love. What happens to them? They get into a car accident, or they get some really fucked up shit happens to wake them up. And I've seen people, and they still don't wake up, and guess what? They get into another car accident. And I've seen this happen to people. So and everyone's on their own unique journey, and you know everybody will get there when they're ready to get there. But when you really start looking at life that way, that everything's happening perfectly for you, always, even the shitty stuff, you become the absolute creator of your reality, and that's beyond words. And actually, my favorite books, I put them up on the Infinite Man blog. There's a post there. So if you start reading, there's some high-level beings out there talking about this stuff. So, you know, if you haven't read like Autobiography of a Yogi or Conversations with God or Power versus Force, it will change your life. You can literally, you are the creators of all of this, all of us together. We're making all this right now. But we can be anything we want it to be. Absolutely anything. Good question. I wish I could do a short answer on that. Anything else? Before they come take me away in a straitjacket? The spiritual straitjacket?
Has your advice changed over the years with the rise of the fourth wave feminists and intersectional feminism?
That's my...
I say that as I have a 23-year-old daughter
Yep.
who says it's socially inappropriate now for a guy to go up and talk to a woman, or for anyone to go up and talk to a woman. You have to actually somehow meet on the cyber reality first. Have you had to adapt to this insanity?
No, I refuse to adapt to insanity. I refuse to adapt to insanity. I'm not going to do it. They can tell us all the crazy shit we want to. Just ignore it and live in your reality, which is coming from a place of love. Like literally getting people addicted to the apps. They're literally just trying to make people robots and so disconnected from each other. Because when you have no human connection and no love, when the government just goes do this or do that or go to war or whatever, you just do it because there's no love in your heart. Like it's the human connection with other beings that would actually make you stop and think about, am I doing something that's actually in alignment with who I am? Right? They're trying to break the human connection between us. So I'm teaching the opposite. Fuck, erase your Tinder, erase all that shit, and get out there in the world and connect with human beings on a real level. Absolutely. I mean, I'm so against. It's horrible. It's horrible. Yeah. No, I will not adapt to insanity. No, I will continue loving and treating people like human beings, no matter what. Yeah. F them. So bad. Yeah, I can't wait till my book comes out because it literally, if people start doing this stuff and getting out there, people will just get off those apps. All right, I think that's it. I'll do another really quick one. Yeah, go shoot, quick.
Where'd you get those pants?
Oh, these pants.
Whatever.
One of my friends gave me, they're Bali pants and they let your balls hang out and they're so good. They're so good because my boys are free and it's just on a hot day, you're like, woo, it's so, ladies, you're getting a little bit excited. It's so good, and you're not supposed to have your boys all scrunched up against yourself all the time. It actually gets too hot and your sperm die. They give you these pants. Scottish people can fuck. That's my point, because they wear kilts. Scottish people can fuck. These are better for you. Anyway, I'm Sasha Dagame. You're all wonderful. Love yourselves. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Thank you. I love you.
My pants look tight to you, or? All right, well. I'll get to that later. Okay, we're a little bit of a change of pace. We're gonna have our next speaker is an expert in the crypto space. He's been around the crypto space for over a decade now. He used to work for Bitcoin.com. Now works for Equistart. He is a futurist and a freedom activist and a good friend of ours, Sterling Lujan.
Sure. How the fuck are you guys doing today? Hell yeah. So, following up Sasha, do you guys want to know what fucked me up in childhood? Are you curious in the slightest? So my biological father, my sperm donor, was a cop. Actually, as far as I'm concerned, he still is a cop. I'm not sure. I haven't spoke with him in 15 some odd years. Bad situation, but this feeds nicely into my presentation because it's partly as a result of him that I became so interested in not only anarchism and freedom, but also in the human brain, in our psychology, what makes us tick, how we learn to try to move forward and get over things, conquer trauma. And I became interested in the concept of money and how money affects us psychologically. So I'm going to start here with a question, and then I'm going to share an anecdote or a story. Who here believes that they had a proper monetary or money-related education growing up? By show of hands. Like no one. And you know what's weird about this? I was doing the same speech, a similar one in Bulgaria, and everybody raised their hand. I was, wow, that's impressive. I didn't get shit for education. You did all right. You did all right. So growing up, I grew up in a small town out in West Texas, and my mother, the only thing that she instilled me with was this idea that I need to try to learn to save money. I need to learn to spend it appropriately and properly, and eventually I need to learn to save money. But that was the extent of my monetary education. I wasn't provided with any idea as to what money actually is, where it comes from, how it's printed, or giving any of the details about what's going on in our monetary world, especially in the fascist United States. None whatsoever. So my goal here today is to try to demonstrate that the psychology of human beings in terms of how we deal with money is on the precipice or the cusp of a major, beautiful, and brilliant transformation. We're right at it. And it really took me an exploration of cryptocurrency and psychology to start trying to get my head around what money is all about. And I think that you guys will be able to jibe with where we're moving in terms of this monetary revolution. So I don't think I can start this presentation out without providing you guys with some idea of what money is so we can make sure that we're all on the same page. Who in their mind has a clear definition or understanding of the nature of money? By show of hands. Couple of people. Okay, that's good. We have a few people who have that. At least they educated themselves to such an extent that you have an understanding of money. So what is it? Money is a medium of exchange. It's how human beings communicate and share value. It's an invention. It's a tool. It's not something that's physical and concrete. Now, one of the things about money is that it has to have certain kinds of features or qualifications or characteristics that make it what it is. Good money is generally scarce, it's portable, it's divisible, it's malleable. And if it can meet these criteria and more, then society and individuals, in this case government, we're going to talk about this, make a determination of what constitutes good money. But before I get deeply into that, I want you guys to go on an exploration with me about the nature of money and where it gets its so-called value. There's some people, and I'm probably going to burst some bubbles here, some people that think the value in money is intrinsic, that it's somehow built into the very essence of the money. This goes for dollars, for gold, for silver, for cryptocurrency. But value by its nature is subjective. If we value something, that is our own personal preference of its valuation. And let me provide a little quote for you. There's an amazing speaker in the cryptocurrency space named Andreas Antonopoulos. And what he said is that value in terms of money, even in cryptocurrency, is a collective hallucination. What that means is it's really a collective agreement of how we should exchange value in society, of how we should deal with each other in terms of goods and services. And it makes it extremely hassle-free, stress-free, and easy to do. Now, I'm of the mindset, and this occurred to me by thinking about cryptocurrency and this new monetary revolution that we're entering into versus fiat currency and the differences in their properties. But I'm of the mindset that fiat currency has fundamentally warped our psychology. It's changed our thinking to such a degree where people who deal with it on a regular basis don't think in ways that make sense, in ways that embolden people to be more compassionate, more caring, more loving, and more connected with their fellow peers. But cryptocurrency is a new tool that's revolutionizing the way that we're going to think about money and the way that we think about it now. And I believe strongly that there are people who share this experience. So let's talk about fiat money for a second, because I'm going to get into some experimental studies, and I'm not going to try to bore you with these guys. We're going to go through them fairly quickly. But I want you to see, not anecdotally, but observationally, the studies in this current culture, this current milieu that we find ourselves in. I want you to look at what kind of studies have been done on how money affects our psyches on a deep level. So here's the thing with fiat currency. First and foremost, fiat currency is controlled entirely by governments, right? Most of you are all aware of the atrocities and the nastiness committed by agencies like the central banking entities and Federal Reserve of the United States. These people who are involved in this apparatus can literally print a button or press a button and print out as much money as they want. They can type in a few digits in a keyboard and fill their own bank accounts, effectively extorting the population and hyperinflating the currency. So money, fiat currency, is intimately interwoven into this decadent, corrupt, nasty, broken system that affects us all on a psychologically deep level, right? It makes people hate money. Who here believes, and I really doubt that there's many people in this room right now that hate money, but who believes there's a lot of people who hate money? And what do we call these people? Communists. Right? There's people who believe that it's not just the want of money that is evil, but somehow the tool itself is evil. But just like guns, money is just a tool at the end of the day, unless it's wielded for nefarious ends, just like the federal government wields money. And what this does, it creates a master-slave dynamic, right? Imagine if you're the king, if you're the politician, if you're the president, and you get to print all of your symbols on this particular piece of money. If you get to print it out and you get to tell people, leveraging coercion, that you have to use this money or else, do you not think that's going to affect our psyche in a given territorial region if we are forced, basically enslaved, to use that money? And here's one of the key takeaways of this talk. You guys already all know this. But what we have to do is we have to instill people with the notion that there's a new kind of money that's emerging in society. And this new kind of money is changing the way that we think about monetary interactions with each other. It's changing the way that we do business with each other. And I'll tell you some stories about how this is going to continue to do good. So one of the things about money is that the symbolism involved is somewhat sketchy. I am not the expert in symbology and occultism in this room, and I'm sure you guys are going to get plenty of that. But we already know there's some references to various forms of the dark arts, occultism, Freemasonry, etc., that is embedded into the dollar. And I'm not here to get involved in any conspiracies or make any kinds of conjecture. I'm more interested in the what does it do? How does it affect us? Regardless of where it comes from, regardless of the reasoning, we know that rulers created it and made it, especially, and remember I'm talking about fiat currency, we know that it affects people in certain kinds of ways. And that's what I want to explore here with some of the next studies, and then we'll go on why I've come to this conclusion. So a lot of the people, I mentioned communists a minute ago, a lot of the people who really have a problem with money or they have some kind of concerns, there's this term, it's called chromatophobia. Chromatophobia just means a fear of money. Now, it's not an actual psychological diagnosis. You can't go to the psychiatrist and say, hey, this money scares me, and then they're going to hand you a diagnosis. That's not how it works. But a lot of people, I mentioned communists, a lot of people, not just communists though, have an innate uncertainty about money. They have an innate fear. And they think that people who are wealthy or rich are automatically evil. Who can jive with that? You've heard people talk about some people would even go as far as to say that if you have a lot of money, you're immoral, right? No reasoning whatsoever as to how they got the money, where it came from. If you have a lot of money, regardless, you're immoral. And here's the key insight to that. Where that came from is the fact that we're embedded in this clusterfuck of a system where these people can print as much money as they want and they get to have first dibs on it, right? So naturally, a lot of people are going to have their suspicions about money, but they're going to word it in a way that's as general as possible. But what's happening here is, in a way, they're not wrong, because the money that everybody is forced to use is highly controlled, highly regimented, and it's it's made certain that certain people have accessibility to it before everyone else. Luckily, that is changing for the good, and we'll get to that. But let's look at some of the studies and some of the research evidence behind money and why it is the way it is currently. So there's a research study that was done by T. Rowan Price that looked at, and this is going to harken back to my opening story, that suggests that a good percentage of parents will not talk to their children about money. This is 3/4 of parents have no conversation. This is the reason why when I asked that question to you guys, very few people raised their hands. Parents feel uncertain and lost about sharing their ideas about saving money, about what money is, and how to get it or how to acquire it with their children. What the study doesn't suggest is why that is. Why can't parents? All the study suggested was that parents they feel that they lack confidence. And of course they lack confidence. They weren't taught as children how to deal with money, how to handle it, etc. And this is for most of the average person. Of course, there's outliers who they're lucky upon birth. They were brought into a family who cares about these things and that they want to educate their children about the importance of it. So that's my plea here. We're all libertarian educated. We've decided for whatever reason we wanted to gain more awareness about the world, more care, and more love. So I think it's super important for our revolution, for this notion that we want to break down the current establishment and replace it with more instantations of freedom and love and dignity and decency. We have to teach our children about the importance of money, but really what we're going to be teaching them about is the new money, the transformational money that's coming into existence, the cryptocurrencies. Let's look at some more studies, though. So who here has had a problem in their relationships where you got into a financial debate or debacle with your significant other? Yep, I didn't think that I was alone in this particular issue. So if you've gotten into a debate or an argument with your lover about finances, then you're living in reality, because about 30%, roughly 30% of couples who get into an argument about money are more than likely to get a divorce. This is if you're married specifically. And it happens all the time. And of course, if the people involved in this situation grew up not having a monetary education, imagine now they're bickering with each other about money. They have no idea what money is, where it came from, how they acquired it. This is hugely problematic, and it only speaks to the current system and what we're embedded in. Now, this is a study that's a lot more interesting because it speaks to the overarching thesis that I have here. So the money empathy gap was a research study done by Paul Piff at the University of California. And what he did in this study, he pitted two players in a Monopoly game against each other, except one of the players was advantaged, meaning they had an extra dice, they started with more money, and the other player was disadvantaged. When they got into this room, Paul Piff recorded their game. They played a regular game of Monopoly, and at the beginning of it, it started out hunky-dory. They were both laughing and jesting with each other. But as the game went on, the person who was advantaged, and remember, the system is rigged, right, from the beginning, the advantaged person started laughing at the other person. They started gesturing aggressively. They started slamming the pieces down on the board as they walked by with the pieces. And they just basically made fun of the person who was losing, even though they clearly had an advantage of the game. It's like they lost that sense. So Piff said that these individuals who were advantaged lost their ability to empathize with the other person. They lost their ability to connect. And now here's the insight or the idea that Piff missed. His crew simply thought that money, as a general overarching idea, is to blame for this problem. People who have a lot of money are automatically evil no matter what. But the study was created in the context of paper currency. Even Monopoly uses paper currency. And yes, there could be some reach on my part. There could definitely be some questions that need to be answered. But I'm already hedging my bets on the idea that the way that they rigged this game to begin with will automatically create a scenario where the person who's advantaged is predisposed to acting like this. And the reason that I'm here today, and the reason that I think a lot of you are probably here today, as I've mentioned a couple of times already, we're entering into a new ecosystem. We are gaining access to a form of money that is not controlled by any particular individual. And even if it does get controlled, we can easily create, reproduce, and generate new kinds of money. And these kinds of monies are referred to as cryptocurrencies. Now, you guys have some familiarity with cryptocurrency? I would assume most of you, right? Okay. So some of the primary features of cryptocurrencies, we'll go over these just briefly. And these features, they really highlight the idea that this is a particular kind of money that will generate more freedom, will provide us with more psychologically sound way to interact with as many people as possible. So one of the key principles here is cryptocurrencies are decentralized. What this means is that in the cryptocurrency ecosystem, there's no central point of failure. There's no honeypot that a person can just use to steal a whole bunch of money from at one time or control the money from a centralized location. And again, even if that is possible with some cryptocurrencies, we simply engineer a new cryptocurrency where that problem doesn't emerge and doesn't crop up. Cryptocurrencies are also peer-to-peer, which means instead of relying on a third party to handle our money, i.e. a bank, a government, or even some type of private agency, I can hold all of my money and I can send it from me to Lynn, from me to this gentleman, without any kind of barriers to obstruction, without having to deal with any kind of third party. And this next feature goes along with it. Cryptocurrencies are also borderless, meaning if I want to send money from here to someone in Japan directly in a peer-to-peer fashion, there's nothing to stop me. You guys help me break this down. What happens if I go up to the MoneyGram or the Western Union and I try to send $1 million to Japan? What happens? Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm a terrorist now, right? I have to sign all kinds of forms, paperwork, the CIA, the FBI, Homeland Security. Everybody knows now that I tried to send $1 million to someone in an offshore location. And they're probably going to be interested, especially if it's a lot of money. Well, guess what? You can do that same transaction on a cryptocurrency or blockchain platform in the blink of an eye without having to worry about anybody being scrupulous in that moment and figuring out what you're trying to do. Sure, somebody can come back later and look on a blockchain and see that that transaction was made, but you're not having to fill out all your personal credentials on a piece of paper so some bureaucrat can see where you tried to send that money. And this, my friends, is something that I think a lot of people forget about in the cryptocurrency space. This is a huge boon to what we're all trying to do as anarchists in our great strive toward more freedom in this world. And it's absolutely amazing. So cryptocurrency is also permissionless, which means that if you want to innovate, if you want to create some kind of upgrade for a particular piece of blockchain technology, you can do that in a way that is more wholly democratized, meaning I can change some code and then I can submit that code to be upgraded in this particular blockchain system. Now that doesn't mean it's automatically going to happen, but what that does mean is the community ultimately decides if this change is worth submitting. Now here's the big problem in the current system as it stands. So if you think there's something wrong with the fiat currency system, how are we going to upgrade that? Or are we going to beg a politician to change the way that the system functions? And that's exactly what has to happen now. And this is why there's so much red tape and so much bureaucracy in the land of financial controls. You can't go out and try to make changes to this particular ecosystem easily because of all that red tape, because they want to make sure it's highly regimented, highly controlled, and that nobody can get involved in that particular ecosystem. So in my mind, this is one of the huge reasons why cryptocurrency was created. It was created to undermine the current scenario, right? The enigmatic creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, even said in the white paper that the idea is not to have to rely on trusted third parties to manage and handle our money. Instead, we should have that opportunity. And this is why the permissionless component is so important. Now, another piece of this, which we'll get into the psychology of as well in a moment, is the feature is transparency. Cryptocurrencies are, and this has been a big piece of confusion for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is pseudonymous, which means that the transaction is recorded on a blockchain and it's publicly visible, but you don't have to apply your name and credentials to that. But here's the thing. If you're some kind of social leader and you're trying to create some type of important change in society, you can say, hey, I'm doing this, and this is the wallet, and this is the address, and this is a charitable cause, and this is where all the money's going. Currently, politicians and government are not incentivized to tell you where any of the money goes. Fuck, when we get taxed, do we know where all that money goes? I mean, we have a pretty good idea that it gets transformed into a bomb that is then shuttled over to destroy some person's home and kill a child in their bed over in the Middle East. It's certainly not going to fill up potholes, right, in the Midwest. So this right here provides leaders in society with the ability to decide where they're going to send their money, and they can show people, hey, this is going here, it's to a good cause, and I'm being completely transparent and completely honest with my goals. So cryptocurrency has the technological features to retool and reinvent the way that we think about working together in society. And naturally, because this is environmental, it allows our psychology to catch on. It creates a situation where people no longer have to worry about these issues, this nastiness with fiat currency and all the baggage that comes with it. Here's how it changes us. So the master-slave dynamic is an important component of fiat currency, right? If you live in a fiat currency system, you're supposed to be beholden to the way that our quote-unquote masters decide the money should be handled. With cryptocurrency, we create a new kind of relationship dynamic, a friendship dynamic, where we can connect with each other and work on a communitarian level and send money to each other without having to worry about the third parties, without having to worry about the centralized control, without having to worry about the surveillance state, without having to worry about the politicians, the bureaucrats, and the kleptocrats, and all the nasty people of the world to control what we do monetarily. And that's exactly why this is so important. Like, a big chunk of our life is about money. It's about communicating value, and this is what they don't want you to know. This is what I had to learn after having to take drugs, right? I had to swallow a pill of MDMA and start to peek on it and start touching myself. And then I had this flash of insight that the Zen Buddhists call Satori. And when I had this flash of insight, I said, holy shit, I've lived for 20 some odd years of my life and I've been duped this whole time, and I didn't even think about it before. I just played World of Warcraft and numbed myself into oblivion. How many people are doing that kind of stuff right now? Sometimes I even get caught up in that still, because the game that we're having to deal with right now is fucking rigged, right? That's the Monopoly game. That's the Monopoly game. That's what these researchers missed when they did these studies. They're so embedded in this system that we live in that they couldn't see the forest for the trees. And I had the lack of fear to try to discern what's happening without those biases. Another important piece of this puzzle, and this will come from an anecdote, but cryptocurrency changes the way that we work and the way that we lived. Guys, before I ever started to get on a stage and speak, and I've done this particular talk several times now, and I've been into tons of cryptocurrency events and spoken on this particular topic, I worked at Walmart, and I worked at Walmart for 10 years. 10 years, and I was an assistant store manager. I was a customer service supervisor. I was a zone manager. I did every job in the book at Walmart. And listen, it was voluntary. I'm not saying that working voluntarily for even an evil corporation is bad. If you want to do it, you can do it. But here's another piece of the puzzle of why things are changing so drastically as a result of cryptocurrency. When cryptocurrency came into existence, I had Luckily, I got fired from Walmart because they saw a drug charge on my background. That turned into a boon. But then after that, I discovered cryptocurrency. And then I started learning to work on my own accord, of my own volition, and really pull myself up by the bootstraps. I realized that I didn't have to live in accordance with governmental dictates, with society the way it stands. I can be a micro-entrepreneur. I can build out contracts from home. I don't have to trade my time for money, and I don't have to worry about living on somebody else's accord. And this was a huge revelation, an insight of magnanimous proportions, right? Because now I just live on my own. I've invested into cryptocurrency. I've worked for cryptocurrency companies. I don't go into some bullshit, 9-to-5 job every single day. And this is what you call a fundamental shift of the way that we think about relationships, the way that we think about work and play, the way that we think about the state of the ecosystem. So the communists, the socialists, the people who believe that labor should be distributed, it's not even necessarily that some aspects of their philosophy is all wrong. It's just that we've moved beyond that. Because you don't have to be just a laborer. You don't have to trade your time for money. And I hope that you guys can also articulate this, because the way that things are changing, it's what Seth Godin called a linchpin. Being a linchpin means that you're an indispensable human being. And because you've cultivated your own skills, your own expertise, your own abilities, your own magnificence, you can do what you want to do, and you can live how you want to live. If this isn't psychologically novel, then I don't know what is. The next piece of the puzzle here is gamification. And this is fun because I like to get back into that Monopoly board review, that study. So in the Monopoly game, the game was rigged, right? It's not gamified in an equitable or fair way. However, if you're working in the cryptocurrency space and you like to use a cryptocurrency platform, I like to use Steemit as a representation. And Terry back here knows about Steemit, and Gina. Steemit is a platform where you can write blogs and then you get paid to write those blogs. This is what you call a gamified system using a token economic model. What that means is that you can write a post, a blog, and then the community votes on whether they like your content or not. I was an early adopter in Steemit shortly after I got fired from Walmart. And I did really well on Steemit in those early days without having to be beholden to any single person or deal with any kind of bureaucratic nightmare. And as a result of that, I was able to get into other work in the cryptocurrency community. But the big deal is it's gamified in a way that's fair, right? The reason I mentioned before a lot of people play video games and get into these other types of escape outlets is because they're fair, right? If you go to play some video game, generally the creators of that video game try to make it fair where you can actually win. How many people feel like they can win in this particular environment that we're in, where some certain group of individuals get all the cut of the money and all the leverage and all the power out of the gate? That's changed now. Because of cryptocurrency, we can fight that without having to do anything except start using these systems. And that's exactly what I did. So token economic models change the game of how we approach society. Now, I've talked a lot about psychology, but I want to get into why I believe cryptocurrency actually does change us neurologically. So when we use cryptocurrency systems, and this actually applies to all kinds of behavior, just living, behaving, acting, thinking, engaging, being, we actively work to alter our neural connections. We grow our brain, right? This is a concept in the field that's referred to as neuroplasticity. And this has just really been fleshed out over the last 2 decades, really just the last decade. What it means is as we live and we behave, our brain rewires itself. It changes to fit that new mold. I believe when I started engaging in the cryptocurrency space, I very clearly reshaped my brain to stop thinking about living in the current system and start living in the system that we're currently building, living in the non-system of tomorrow, living in the free, equitable, and agoristic system. That is what has happened and what will continue to happen as we continue to work with these systems. We're going to plastically change our brains, and we are doing that right now, to start thinking about the way the current system works and the way the new system is working. And I am a living, breathing example of that, and I'm sure, 100% positive, there's other people that are living in the same manner. It could have been done before the invention of cryptocurrency and other technologies, but this technological revolution has really invigorated this notion, and anybody can do it. You don't have to give up. You don't have to suffer living and working in the current environment and situation that you live in. You just have to push forward, and you have to do it. This is a lot of what Sasha Daygame was talking about. It's certainly about the focus. It's about the spiritual connections, the compassionate connections with other human beings, but it's also about that internal drive to change and a recognition that you want something better for yourselves. And I just think that's so important. In the field, in psychology, they also refer to this as nature via nurture. So if your environment changes around you and you positively and proactively try to change it, that will change your brain. See, the issue here is they tried to communicate this notion that it's actually nature versus nurture, that these ideas of environment versus the way that you grew up are at odds with each other, right? But the reality is that we can change anything that we want to if we put our mind to it and we know that we want to. And that's the truth I believe in. That's the truth that I found. And at the end of the day, not to understate this whatsoever, we are in the midst of a humanitarian and financial renaissance. Because of the way that we're developing outward technology, cryptocurrency systems, and blockchain, we are putting ourselves in a situation to transcend ourselves, to become way more than we currently are. And another time that I had taken MDMA, I think it was at Anarchapulco, one of the myriad of times that I swallowed that beautiful pill, I had this insight where I combined the thinking of two of my favorite thinkers. One is Terence McKenna. Who's heard of Terence? Yeah. And the other one is Ray Kurzweil. Ray Kurzweil. So what I realized on this MDMA experience is these two gentlemen were saying the exact same thing, right? And their idea was that consciousness is going to expand rapidly. There's going to be a transformational period where we grow as human beings, where we evolve. We're effectively being midwived out of the teenage years of humanity and into adulthood. Terence characterized it in a pretty strange way, suggesting that there's some kind of eschaton at the end of time or some kind of strange attractor that's pulling us toward it, so that history is an illusion and we're just moving in a certain direction. Kurzweil, more respected in traditional scientific communities, effectively said that we're going to create artificial intelligence technologies that become way smarter than us, and effectively we allow our intelligence to dot the universe as a result of the growth and expansion of these machines. So I think that we are making this transition, and that blockchain and cryptocurrency are a key facilitating factor in that particular movement. And so you know right away that I'm not in the Elon Musk camp where I think AI and technology are a bad thing, right? This is all happening in a very beautiful way that's allowing us to grow and change as a species, and it's changing us already very rapidly. And I don't like to delve into necessarily the potentially, what was the word that Sasha used? Woo-woo? Yeah, I don't like delving into the woo-fuckery. But I do think that it's very clear that we're creating a new kind of lives for ourselves. And I think that life naturally does away with the authoritarian state, with the system as it stands. And I think that we need to bring this revolution, this renaissance, to as many people as possible. And I really hope that you will all help me share these particular insights and share the love of cryptocurrency and technology in general with as many people as possible. I think that I probably have some time for some questions if anybody has questions. I'm not really sure where I'm at.
Do you see the U.S. dollar ever becoming a cryptocurrency? It's a big game changer.
Right. it's clear that governments have already looked into digitizing their currency. Russia had this notion of the crypto ruble. China has been in discussions. There's been oil-based coins in South America, and they're wanting to leverage this. But here's the thing: the gig's kind of up because what they're creating is not actually going to be a cryptocurrency. It's going to be some centralized shitcoin that they can completely and totally control, right? Because they don't want a truly decentralized currency to exist. But I think that might be the start. And we've already seen this with Facebook and the coin they've tried to put out called Libra, right? So people are thinking about digital assets and currencies, and when governments talk about them, people naturally get interested. But some people will be tricked into the idea that these are actual cryptocurrencies. As Andres Antonopoulos said, a Fed coin is not a cryptocurrency. Country coin is not a cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is truly decentralized and democratized, and people have accessibility to it rather than it being controlled by a minor elite. And now there's one caveat to that. There are some cryptocurrencies that have become more controlled and seem to have more of a hegemony, but the good thing is this is a voluntary opt-in space, which means that if I don't like the way that you do your cryptocurrency, if I think it's fascist or totalitarian or has some features that I dislike, even the most minute, I can go over to this other cryptocurrency and say, I like this better, and use it. 5 minutes, okay. Yes, sir.
I'll share my experience with cryptocurrency. Maybe a year and a half ago, I purchased about 60 cryptos on Poloniex. Since then, Goldman Sachs buys Poloniex. 20% of my cryptos basically just got frozen. They're like, hey, we want to give you the warning. And I couldn't get them out to wallets. I bought Bitcoin was around 2,300, so that's up. So Bitcoin has been, the positive one, right? And then other ones are really, they fluctuate pretty rapidly. I have one that I got at 2.5 cents, one up to 99 cents, is back at 6 cents. And I'm just sharing this as an experience. My overall investment was $5,000. It was an incredible struggle to get my $5,000 through the pathway to get the Bitcoin, to get to my wallet. And I think I'm just sharing that as like, wow, it was a lot of effort to do this. A lot of cryptos outside of Bitcoin itself have gone down. So I think from a stability factor, that the Bitcoin feels like it's a stable one, and there's a couple of the ones that are Ethereums and stuff. But what's your opinion of that? I have not purchased anything with it. I think it will be great when you can buy things over, but I go on eBay and I'm buying stuff around the world, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you said quite a bit there. Hopefully I can encapsulate it. I'll say that my friend Edward Kingsley over there said that competition on the market is good, for one. So there are going to be competitors to Bitcoin that are going to be potentially usable as a quote-unquote store value. I have some personal reservations toward Bitcoin and its store value characteristic, especially if it doesn't have some of the other features that I talked about earlier in the presentation that make money sound money, and that add it, and that provide it with value. But with that said, the markets are going to continue to fluctuate, right? This is still a brand new space, even if it's a little over a decade old. The technology is still going to change, and a lot of the altcoins and additional blockchain technologies have really not been fleshed out well. There's not really a lot of what we call killer applications in the space that you could start using right now that makes sense. There are some good applications out there, but not the best. And a lot of those altcoins, for lack of a better term, they're not, or a better phrase, they're not meant to be stores of values or investments where you're hoping to get a gain on. They're what we call utility coins, where they're used for some kind of token economic reason within those particular niche communities. So what you have to do is keep your eye out and look at the intentions of the communities, and if these coins are actually investment worthy. And I would be more than happy to get into more detail with you on that later. Yeah. All right. Is that good? Okay. We can chat if you want after I have to finish taking questions. Thank you all very much. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that, bro.
Give it up one more time for Sterling Lujan, everyone. It's my boy. Yo, Sterling. I mean, I probably should have announced this, but my significant other is going to be here later, and I want you to have a deep conversation with her about psychiatry and mental illness and stuff like that. Hell yeah. Yep, that'll be on Sunday. So you're gonna look forward to that. All right, so next up, is he in the room? He's here, right? All right, cool. All right, next up is one of my personal favorite speakers. He's like a crypto mastermind, this guy. He's been involved with Dash for a long time, and he just gets the space, similar to how Sterling does, and he's just somebody who can tell you everything you need to know about this and why it's relevant, because a lot of people don't understand the relevance behind it. They're just like, oh, it's some internet money, it's magic, you can make money off it. There's a movement behind this, and it was forged out of an ideal, and this man represents that ideal very well. Everybody, Chuck Williams.
Wow. Thanks, Carmen. You gonna bring that up for me? Cool. Well, while he's bringing that up, couple things. Sterling Lujan is one of my favorite people on this planet. Glad to be working with him on the Equistart project, and that was completely accidental. Sean Owen, the former CEO of Salt Lending, sought us both out separately and individually, and now we're ending up here together. Back to back at this conference, sharing ideas even that are very similar to one another. Yeah, that's the one. F. Bam. Sweet. All right. Nice. Yeah, so the title of my talk is Anarchist Principles for Software Web App Development version 1.0. This is actually the first time that I'm putting this together. I put a lot of thought into this, and I got to tell you, it reminds me of a story that I heard about Pablo Picasso later in his years. He was 65 years old, already famous, sitting in a cafe, sketching something out on a napkin. And he took it to crumple it up. And a woman caught him. She said, "Wait, Mr. Picasso, may I purchase this from you?" And he said, $20,000, or whatever the local currency was. And she was like, "What? You just spent 5 minutes on this." And he said, "Madam, I spent 65 years on this." You get the point? This is my seminal work. This is my version of that exact same thing. My whole life has been about principles and understanding them. Why do people work? How do people work? Because I've always been an outsider looking in, trying to understand what the fuck all the time. I'm always asking, what the fuck? So a little bit about me. This is my prostitution page. Follow me on Twitter at ChuckWilliams37. I'm very active on there. I do a radio show called The Crypto Show. You can check that out at thecryptoshow.com. That's my partner Danny down there. We travel around. We talk to people. We meet interesting people. Sasha Daygame was interviewed once. That's on there. Equistart.io, my latest and greatest favorite project that I'm working with Sterling and a number of other people, not only in the crypto space, but in various other industries. Maybe I'll have a little time to talk about that, but near and dear to my heart, both graphically and physically here, Dash and the Crypto Show. Dash, I was a former UI UX tech lead at the Dash core group. It was an interesting project. I was there for 18 months. Every month, our salary was voted on by over 4,000 random masternode owners, and I didn't know whether or not I would get paid every single month. And as long as they were voting, we would get paid. It was an interesting experience. We got paid in Dash, paid in cryptocurrency, and it's a very interesting experience working for, just that monthly, like every moment, wondering if they're happy with what we're doing. Chuck at screenscholar.com if you want to email me. And I'm doing a little shout out. It's actually cut off here. I'm sorry about the graphic presentation. KundaliniSupportNetwork.org. My wife has launched a website that is intended to help people going through spiritual crisis. So I'm just kind of giving that little shout out as a side item for my wife, who's here in the back. Chuck's Conscious Stream. I've got laser eyes right now. I reserve the right to hold my laser eyes. You cannot take my laser eyes. Right around here is all the companies that I've worked for in some way, shape, or form as either clients or employees. Anybody ever download a photo book from Shutterfly? Yes, no? If you have, you've used my work. Anybody ever upload a document to FedEx Office and printed it or picked it up at the location, or a book or anything like that? You use my work. I've done work for the CIA, FBI, ODNI, a bunch of banks, and Walt Disney and National Geographic and all kinds of stuff. So I've been in the industry for about 22 years. Oh shit, did I just break something? What happened? All right, cool. We'll move on. All right, so why am I here? Why am I here? My purpose today, number one, serve freedom. And I have a particular definition of freedom. I'm moving very quickly because I have a lot of information to share. But freedom is this weird thing, and I've learned over time that freedom can only be measured. Like there's this guy, Chaz Holloway. I'm dropping a lot of books. Chaz Holloway, check out this book, The Fall of the Political Class. He has what he claims is the very first scientific definition of both property and freedom, so that we can start to measure the presence and ownership of property and the presence of freedom. Freedom in this case, and I'm testing this, it can only be measured by lack of coercion. It's one of these weird things where you can only measure how much is taken away because it's infinite to begin with. Kind of weird. I'm also here to serve the vision. The vision is a little bit vague. I'll get into that. I'm also here to serve you guys, the community. And so when I was thinking about this talk, Buckminster Fuller comes to mind. You can never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, you must build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. I love this one. Let's obsolete the old fucking model. That's the whole idea. And I realized that if I'm going to offer something to this community, it's going to be about what I'm into, what I know. How can I share what I've got in a very condensed, super powerful kind of, dehydrated manner where you can take it, soak it, test it, and see if it works for you. That's the whole idea. So, why am I doing that? Because we need to build some shit that fucking works. One of the dark secrets of the industry, the software development industry, is the indisputable fact that 78 to 95% of software web app projects fail. And I'm going to talk more about what failure means, but it basically boils down to three things: your users, your stakeholders, and your craftspersons or your builders, okay? And one of those three areas is, one or more is where it fails. So let's start with some basic definitions. Thank you, Mark Passio, for setting me up with this kind of thing. Principle. Today, for the purposes of this room, a principle is going to be defined as a rule or a belief governing one's personal behavior. Now, in this case, I'm focusing a lot more on this one right here, belief. Because belief is where it's all at. It's all in the head. It's all in the mind. We create these abstract realities, and then we design our behavior around them, and that's what this is about, being able to design your own behaviors. And of course, I'm not going to talk too much about anarchy without rulers, right? So I'm just going to skip over that because this is an anarchist conference. Now, presenting Anarchist is Principles for Software Web Development version 1.0. Chuck Williams, Anarcho-Delphia, 2019-09-13. Thank you very much. Number one, all value is belief. We talked a little bit about value today. This is when I concluded this, when I realized this, I was like, oh my God. I have been, all right, so a little history on money, real quick for me. I remember the first time that I saw money, I was 4 years old in a Sunday school, and they gave out coins, and we were learning about this is a penny, this is a nickel, and I was like, oh my God, this is what my parents fight about all the time. I couldn't believe it. Why are they always fighting about these coins? I didn't understand it. Well, what I came to understand later on in life is that what we love is what we value, and we have expectations in that love. We have expectation. We believe that there is something in there worth something to us. With money, it's very simple. I mean, it provides goods and services, and we need a lot of goods and services. Unless you're providing for yourself, then you go off grid and you live on your own. You don't need money, right? Then you value the resources that you provide for yourself. You value your time. You value your effort. You value those trees and the ground and the earth and the seeds and the soil and the sun and the sky and all that shit. So I'm going to prove this a little bit more. Whenever you want to talk to people, you can show them this format. Noun is valuable because reason is always a belief. If anybody says, now, it doesn't matter whether or not the reason is true or false, it's still a belief, because the valuable part is the key here, because you need a conscious mind in order to do the valuing. There is no valuing if there are no conscious minds involved. And this is one of the reasons that all value is in fact belief. When I realized all this stuff, I was blown away. And then I found other people who agreed with me. Now, when it comes to software, and you're asking people about what do they value, what do they want? You know, that was one of the easy things that comes to mind is, who was it? Henry Ford. He said, look, if I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horse, right? That's old school. But the thing is, that's because everybody sucks at speaking what they believe. I believe I want a faster horse. That's not really what you want. They have to be presented with what they want, but they didn't know that what they want. Most people can't articulate it. They can't get that shit that's inside of them out into words where everybody else understands it. It's kind of incredible. But at the same time, everybody's awesome at demonstrating their values. It's super easy. All you got to do is look where they spend their time. All you people here, I am very appreciative. You are giving me your attention. And that's extremely valuable to me, and I hope that I'm bringing value back to you in exchange in this reciprocal upward spiral. That's one of the goals here. Floss your beliefs regularly. This is still part of the all value is belief. You should always be testing these values, and that's part of the idea, these beliefs. I want you to take these beliefs, these ideas, these principles, and test them, you know? Because if you don't test them, then they're just authoritative, and that's not something that I want to be delivering. I'm not delivering anything authoritative here. That's not the idea. If you find that your values are being fulfilled, it's good to express gratitude. Sasha Daygame helped me out with that one. Getting a little bit more into software, I contributed to a book. It's called Effective UI. Me and a team of people, we wrote this book back in 06, 07, and it was kind of a culmination and review of a number of different projects that we'd worked on. And we concluded that there is this thing that exists. We call it the three-legged stool of software projects. This is how we measure failure, because in software, as I mentioned before, you're way more likely to fail than you are to succeed. So a lot of the work becomes, when you're building a website or an app or any kind of software, it's a risk mitigation game. How can we not fail is a big part of everything. And the nice thing about that, as Nassim Nicholas Taleb talks about, is it's easier to know what we don't want. That guy's the author of Skin in the Game and Fooled by Randomness and The Black Swan. Great books, great books. So this is how we measure failure, and it's very easy to do. First, you look at the end users, the UX, the user experience. The one question you can ask them is, would they recommend it? You can do this on a scale of 1 to 5 or whatever. A lot of different ways to do this. But what you're measuring is the investment of the heart. Those users love your product. Lots of Apple folk love their products. That's why Apple maintains domination in certain areas, because they try, at least since Steve Jobs left, they've been trying to stay true to that heart. The second group of people that you want to care about, that stool, is the stakeholders, clients, or owners. You want to extract from them requirements. You want to make sure you get what they need. What do you require in order for this business model, this website, this organization, this activist group? What do you need, stakeholder, who is going to pay or buy or acquire or desire your outcomes? Will they, if we can deliver this? This is the investment of the body. This is survival. These stakeholders they just want to make their money most of the time. They want to get delivered. They want real material goods, something that can be sold, something that can be traded. This is how you measure failure. If you're not delivering something that the stakeholders are saying, yes, I would pay for that, then you are not succeeding. You are failing. And the last piece, the technologists, the craftspersons, the skilled professionals. From this group of people, you want to extract constraints. How can we fail? The one question you want to ask them is, will they build, rebuild, support, maintain, deploy, or improve this thing? Are they willing to do it? Are they willing to put their heart and mind into it? Do they support the structure of this thing? They are investing their mind. So you see a pattern here: mind, body, heart, soul, whatever you want to call it. Number 2, the conditioning is real. I actually hear this as a whisper in my head. The conditioning is real. When I realized this, I had just finished watching Obama's acceptance speech. And I don't think I've really watched any broadcast television intentionally since then, besides tennis with my father-in-law and shitty news. But the conditioning that I felt, I realized something. I was like, God damn, why do I feel so goddamn hopeful? I know this motherfucker's gonna just fucking do the same shit as before and drop bombs on people. He's gonna get that power. He's gonna push those buttons. He's gonna get money over here. He's gonna get money over here. And we're not gonna see anything except hand waving and lies and more bullshit. And I knew that, but yet, that motherfucker was so good at generating hope. I'm like, why am I feeling this? Well, because I was conditioned to believe it. By all the media, all the news, all the mainstream media, they pump it, pump it, pump it. Directors, film folk who create commercials, who create environments that land on your screens, are intended to manipulate your emotions. They are emotional craftspersons. That's what they do. Nothing against anybody filmmakers in here. We need filmmakers in this group also to emotionally craft the things that we need to move this movement forward. But that conditioning is extremely real, and there are people who know how to do this. But we have to recognize that we live in certain conditions of environment all around us, our social structures, our governmental structures, the regulatory structures, the monetary structures, all these structures, education, healthcare, all this stuff that we rely on as a society of networked individuals to communicate, to live, to thrive, to grow, to understand, to create, to destroy. That all happens inside of an environment, and some people manipulate pieces of that environment so that we will or won't believe or see certain things. And I'll touch on this a little bit more later. We live in conditions of the body. Not everybody feels well all the time. And for people who feel ill frequently, that's a struggle. And not everybody has all of their limbs. Not everybody has a functioning mind in certain ways. Not everybody can taste certain things. It's important to understand these conditions also of the mind. And I would recommend that you look at these particular conditions as a starting place for what can I observe? Just take an assessment. Look at these things and understand your personal human condition. So another word for principles might be axioms, okay, like mathematical truths. These things are always true. I'm open to disputing any of these, but I've been testing them on a regular basis, and I invite you to do so also. All right, next up. Integrity untested is authority, not integrity. This reminds me of a woman who was talking about the local mayor of my town, older woman, and she mentioned his name, and she said, oh, he's got great integrity. I'm like, really? What makes you say that? She was, well, obviously, he's the mayor of the town. I was like, well, okay, that's not a good enough reason for me. I mean, do you know him? Have you babysat his kids? Do you nanny? I mean, how do you know him personally? And she's like, well, I don't know. I mean, he's a politician. You can't get into those offices unless you have integrity. Well, this is the answer to this, okay? People often confuse integrity and authority. No, that's not integrity, that's authority. When you are authoring something, if you can't be tested, if you can't dig in and scrape away the top layers of that gold and see that it's still gold inside of it, then that gold, it's authorship. Somebody is writing on it and saying, that's gold, trust me. You're having to trust somebody. That's authority. Integrity, people allow themselves to be tested. They invite it. They want it. That's what you want. And my disclaimer, these principles have not been approved by the FDA, EPA, CIA, FBI, NSA, CDC for human consumption and should be only practiced by professionals. Asterisk. Professionals, somebody want to throw out a definition for professionals? What is a professional? Somebody who gets paid. I mean, that's what I do. That's the way I think about it. If you're getting paid, you're a professional. You could replace it with prostitute. I'm a prostitute of the mind. I do it all the time. Just to pay the bills. If I didn't have to pay bills, that'd be a different story. All right, now number 4. This one was incredible when I realized it. Life is like a game. If you're not designing it, you're probably being played. Sterling, you were talking a little bit, alluding or jumping around this a little bit with your psychological BS. Oh, I should mention, by the way, I have a folder. I like to bookmark stuff. Just as a side, this is an aside. I like to bookmark stuff, right? And I have all these folders, and one of those folders is called Truth in my bookmarks. And in my bookmarks is the Psychologic Anarchist website from 2015. So that was pretty cool. Weird little circle there. Anyway, if you're not designing it, we can make choices about our environment, about our bodies, about our minds, and we can choose what to believe. And those choices that we make about beliefs, and I will say, I think the best beliefs are useful, pragmatic, and predictive. So if you're choosing a belief, ask yourself if does it have at least one of these 3 qualities. I mean, even belief in God can be useful, and it can be pragmatic. It may not be predictive, but I mean, that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, if you're not designing those perspectives, if you're not designing your beliefs, if you're not designing them, then you are being played in some other system. There is some other system, this environment. We have these walls, we have this mic, we have this exchange kind of going on. These are just kind of like some social structures and rules that we kind of set up with this environment and these bodies, okay? We didn't necessarily design this, but to some degree we participated in it. I mean, this wouldn't be happening without all of us here, right? So I like to think that we did this, that we created this space. This space would not exist without all of us doing this right now. So maybe we're not being played at this moment. All right. Next up, did I have anything deeper there? No. Number 5, there are always at least 3 options. Okay, in software, you make a lot of code decisions. You make a lot of different kinds of decisions. And a lot of times you get stuck. It's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Where should we go? And everybody's like, we should do this. We should do this. I think we should do this. And everybody's debating about what they should do. And I got another principle about that one. But this one is, when you're making those decisions, you always have at least 3 options. Always. You can move toward the thing, you can move away from the thing, or you can do nothing. And in my opinion, the do nothing is way, way underutilized. We have this whole interventionist thing going on in our minds, and I think this is because we've been conditioned to do so. How many politicians say, we must do something? Could you imagine if a politician said, ladies and gentlemen, we have decided to do nothing. Right? That would be fucking incredible. I'd be like, fuck yeah, leave it alone. Thank you. Oh, no. Instead, we have politicians who want to throw nuclear bombs at hurricanes. I'm sorry. That's just, okay. Now, and 5.2, be the way and get out of it. When you're building software, you want to provide these guardrails. You want to provide those constraints, those environments, those flows, and then get out of the way. You can offer the same kinds of options in every view. Cancel, do the thing, or I'll just close the window. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to let it sit. And then maybe something pops up. Your session's about to die. You know that, right? You got to buy these tickets. Number 6, the revealing is healing. Now, this is a pretty simple thing. Again, I like psychology. I'm a big fan of this. I like seeing the shit inside of me to a certain degree. To a certain degree, people. I don't want to see it all at once. Just a little bit, degrees of the shit, because then I can see it and reveal it, and then I can observe it and change what needs to be changed and keep the rest. It's healing. It's always healing. Now, in software, what that means is you want to know how you're hurting people. You want to know the pain that they are being inflicted. You want to know the annoyances that they're experiencing, what's being mandated to them that they're not able to accomplish. I got 5 minutes left. Holy shit, I got to burn through the rest of these. All right, I'm going to talk really fast. All right, the rest of them aren't too bad. I got through the really important stuff. Let's go through these. All motivation is EDSO. Endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. Endorphins, go for a run. Serotonin, do something on a team with a group of people. You only get it if you do it with a group of people and achieve success. That gets your serotonin. The dopamine you can get pretty much by doing a desire. It's the desire drug. You don't actually get dopamine releases after the win. It's right up to, if you see the apple in the distance on the tree and you're hungry, it's like you're gonna get that hit of dopamine. And then you get closer and you get a hit again, and then you just about to eat the apple, and that's when you get that last hit of dopamine. After that, it's just the other food hormones and that stuff. Oxytocin, deep love. That's the only way to get it. In software, you want to shoot for these, especially the D and the S. That's how you get that Fiero moment. Look up Jane McGonigal. She does all kinds of gaming stuff, gamification stuff. The Fiero moment is what you're after when you say, yes, I'm a genius. That's what you want to provide for them in their software. This next one, I want to hear it. I'll do it first. It goes like this. Networks, not hierarchies. Networks, not hierarchies. Networks, not hierarchies. This is the answer to any hierarchical control system that is manipulating people into doing the things that you don't want them to do. You offer each individual node in the system the opportunity to make the decisions that they need with all the information that they need just to do that. That's how Bitcoin works. Every node has a full copy of the whole blockchain, and you can start the whole Bitcoin experiment all over again with just one node. That's what makes it so secure. If the whole internet dies, guess what? It doesn't die. We can rebuild it. We can do it with mesh networks. We can do it differently. That's what really is cool about it. You guys want to try it with me? Networks? All right, on three. Wait, let me go back. Let me go. Ready? Networks, not hierarchies. Networks, not hierarchies. Networks, not hierarchies. Awesome. I wanted to hear that just one time. Thank you very much. All right, all decisions are emotional. I still get angry about this one. Where am I at? I got 1-2 minutes maybe? I'm going quick. All right. All decisions are emotional in nature. I was really, really pissed when I realized this because I'd already been a developer for a number of years, and some hot shit designer named Tracy Varnell came up to me. She's a shipboat captain now, by the way. And she said, all decisions are emotional, right? You know this, right? I was like, no, I didn't know that. As a matter of fact, I think emotions are a waste of time. She's like, well, you're wrong. And I was like, fuck. God damn it. So I had to go and research and look at people and do a whole bunch of fucking reading. And there's this thing called the limbic brain that I was just reminded by this book, Simon Sinek, Start With Why. Check that one out, it's a good one. The limbic brain essentially makes all your decisions. Did you know that if you remove those hormones, the EDSO, the dopamine, you will not desire anything? If you are able to remove dopamine from the system, you won't have any desire, and you won't do anything. Mice have died proving this. It's amazing. And all of the information that we get is just justifying those emotions most of the time. I would say over 80% of the time. All solutions are conscious, none are technical. In software, you have to solve human problems, not technical problems. There are so many technical problems that you can spend your time, you can waste your time, you can waste your money on. Don't focus on those. Those are not the things to focus on. Focus on the things that solve human problems. Look into the minds of the individuals who want the thing done or are being prevented from getting the thing done and solve that mental problem. What does success look like for you? Oh, it looks like when I have this in front of me, or when this is done, or when these 8 people have done this thing, and I know it, and I get the feedback for it. You can solve that with technical problems, but you have to conceive consciously of the solution and get an agreement. Yes, if I do this for you, that's the solution. How you solve it with technology doesn't matter. This one kind of goes without saying here. Legality is not morality. I have run into many situations where you have to work with the law, as I mentioned, and work with the morality. Have things be opt-in. Don't tell people what to do. Don't control things. Don't collect things. Don't make honeypots. keep things moral, and your software will be more attractive to the users, and you'll win on that front. Now, I'm going on number 12. I'll stop here. I have 23 of these. I'm going to post them online and hopefully share them with everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed what you got out of today. Yeah, maybe we can do it again or finish it tomorrow to some later. I don't know. Yeah, cool. Thanks. Pat's giving me maybe a little time. I can come up and finish the rest of them. But yeah, I thank everybody for being here. I don't know if you're going to introduce the next person, right? I got a minute. How about this? Anybody want to throw out any questions? Because I'd love to talk about this stuff. Questions, comments, thoughts, considerations? Did I blow anybody's mind today? Yeah, a few, couple. That's all I'm hoping to do. If I open your eyes and you see something new and you're able to do something different, that's awesome. So yeah, check out equistart.io. That's my current favorite project. If you're starting a business, this is my plug. Starting a business will help you start a business, okay? And we'll get you issued on the blockchain. We'll help you get all your stuff, your governing documents in a row, operating agreement, all that kind of stuff. You'll be able to start up a business just like that. Check out dash.org. My favorite cryptocurrency, it's a Bitcoin fork. You have the masternode voting system. There's a proposal system. They vote on stuff every month. It's a public grant system, essentially. And they just launched the Dash Investment Foundation, which is going to be investing in a lot of different kinds of projects for the benefit of the masternode network and all Dash holders. Dash was just launched on Coinbase Pro. So beginning this Monday, you will be able to trade Dash Bitcoin, Dash dollars on Coinbase Pro. So that's another one. And thecryptoshow.com. I love being on the radio. We did a bunch of Hawaii episodes while I was out there on KHNR AM radio studios. That was pretty fun. But I love learning about all the crypto space. And if you have any crypto-oriented questions, I'll be happy to talk about that stuff with you guys. So thank you very much.
Let's hear one more time for Chuck, please. Oh, it's off. Okay. We're good to go? All right. We are at the end of the night. We have one more speaker, our keynote of the night. He really needs very little introduction. He's an independent researcher and a very illuminating figure. I want his words to speak for himself because I don't like to put too many labels on people. You can find his work at thecrowhouse.com. This is Max Igan.
Thank you, brother. Nice to be here, folks. I'm always jet lagged when I speak in Philadelphia. I don't know what it is, but something about this town. So we'll just see, we'll start talking and see what comes out. I might just sit down if that's all right. I'm sort of getting old, so I like to get off the legs sometimes. Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. You all see me all right? It's okay. It's not a bar stool, but you'll get by. So yeah, move back a little bit. Get in the light. How's that? All good? Are we good? Beautiful. I don't know if that applies here. The whole anarchist thing, like, what is this? We come to do these things. What's it really all about, you know? What it's really about, I think, the whole problem that we face is a loss of self. You know, the biggest trick they ever played on humanity, was convincing people that the power lies with somebody else, when the power actually lies with all of us. You know, authority isn't actually real, it's just a concept. It's just an idea. You know, I was having a conversation actually out there in the foyer about gun control with someone. You know, someone was saying, do you really think that gun control is real? They're going to really go through with all this? And I said, well, you know, why do you even have the guns? If you look at the Constitution and all that sort of stuff, it's because in case the enemies ever get in the fort and they ever get in the gates, well, the enemies are in the gates, folks. How long is it going to take to use the guns anyway? No one's using them. What's the point of owning them? if people aren't going to take the power back. And I'm not saying have a revolution or anything. I'm just saying that, you know, the power to all of this and to change all of this lies in us. And even this movement that we're in, the so-called truth movement, you know, I think that's a loaded term as well, because what is the truth? The truth seems to be pretty subjective, depending on what people want to believe. You know, I mean, sure, there's a truth, there's an ultimate truth, but what is it? Do you know what it is? Does anybody know what it is? About all we can really confirm is the fact that we're all living in a slavery system, all of us. And the reason we're living in the slavery system is because we comply with the slavery system, because we don't believe we have the power to change it. You know, we come to these conferences and we listen to these speakers and we get all this information, but what do we do with the information? Do we apply it to the world we live in? You know, how much information do you need? And what's it all really about? You know, like we've lost our path so badly with this movement, and we need to get it back. We need to get focus again, because what this is about is freedom. And that's what it's always been about. And if it's not about freedom, then what is it about? How much information do you need before you realize that you're not free? You know? And this need for more and more information all the time. It's like people just want to watch YouTube clips and they want to go to lectures and they want to be a sponge for all this stuff because they feel like they need to know, because there's going to be some thing there that they're going to get to. They're going to be sitting on this hill glowing, all enlightened at the end of it, or something like that. I don't know, this weird thing that people have going on in their head. But what happened was when we decided knowledge was more valuable than wisdom. And we decided that usefulness was more valuable than beauty. You know, and we lost ourselves in that process, and it's by simply getting that back that we can change things. You know, the thing is in our heart. The power is in your heart. The power to change everything, to change the world, is in your heart by how you interact with the people that you come into contact with every day. That's how you change the world, you know. And you know, when I look at this movement, and I've seen, you know, a lot of opportunities that have gone by. I've seen a lot of wasted opportunities. I've seen a lot of people that don't really want to get into action, you know. And you've got to be in action. If you come to these conferences and you're not networking with people and making connections and taking the information home and applying it to your life, then what's the point of coming here? You know, it's got to be action that we've got to get involved in, and it's got to come from the heart. Heart-based action will change everything, because, like I said, the biggest trick they ever did was convincing people that the power lies with somebody else. You know, we expect a speaker to come along or an activist to come along with some grand plan that's going to change the system. You know, a new idea, a new government, a new form of this. So even anarchy, I mean, anarchist, it's a great concept. Self-governance is a great concept. Is the human race ready to move into an anarchist state? Absolutely not, because people aren't educated enough even to know themselves, to know how to govern themselves properly. You know, if you gave people the right to self-governance at the moment, they'd just take everything they could find because they thought it meant something. Even when people vote for change, they usually vote with their pocket. They vote for whichever politician has promised them the biggest tax breaks, or, you know, how they think their life is going to be personally improved by what this person's going to offer them. And it's the whole concept that this person really has anything to do with their lives to begin with is the problem. You know, we're living in a people farm, folks. We're living in a people farm. You know, all these countries, all these governments, they all work together, and there's so much theatre here to distract us from ever discovering the power in ourselves to change the world in a day if we simply wake up to ourselves. You know, and that's what this is all about. That's what that's the meaning of anarchy, really, is self-discovery, to know yourself. If you don't know yourself, how can you ever govern yourself? You know? And if we're not prepared to operate within our moral compass, like Marx says all the time, Marx probably here somewhere, like he says, we tolerate wrong behavior every day. You know, people think they're not part of the system, you know, and even the whole New Age movement, all this sort of stuff, you can't look at the negative, because where attention goes, energy flows. Well, you're giving your energy to this system through your tolerance of wrong behavior in every single action that we're doing every day. When we're paying our taxes, when we're abiding by all these rules and walking between the lines that don't really exist, except people told us they're there, and none of it supports human beings. You know, we've got to a society where the legal system itself is being inflicted against the people to basically discard them economically. That's what's going on. You know, and we're just tolerating it. So, you know, we're all part of it, and people are already part of the system, and no one is prepared to step outside that. So we're all giving our attention to that, even by not focusing on the energy. You're giving your attention to this negative energy by participating in their rules and using their credit cards, using their smart technology, all this stuff. Any Christians in the room? Any Christians in the room don't like witchcraft? Ever heard of scrying mirrors? And black mirrors that you look into that show you all the information you need to know and show you the future and the past? This is your mobile phone. This is your cell phone. You're all indulging in witchcraft, folks. All you Christians out there think you're not part of the beast system. Yes, you are. You own a mobile phone. I need it for my work. You're part of the system. You're already there. That's the beast system, the whole thing. You know, Google 666 in the logo. It's all there. They tell you. And I think all this stuff is put there as warnings to tell us what they do at the end of these cycles. I think something really big is coming, folks. I really do. And, you know, I've been at this a long time. For the last 11 years, I've been pretty active online. I've been doing this for like my whole life pretty well. I stepped outside of the system when I was a kid. You know, when I realized we had to buy land when I was 4 years old, I was horrified. I thought something was terribly wrong. And I told the story a lot. I was walking around. The day I found out we had to buy land, I was absolutely horrified. I got home and I was walking around with my teddy bear in the backyard saying, Teddy, it's all fucked up. It's all fucked up. I've been born onto the wrong world. These people think they can own the earth. I need you to tell God to beam me off this world and put me back onto the world I'm supposed to live on, because they're all mad. And that's the way I thought through my whole life. And then I got kicked out of all my schools and all that sort of stuff. I had terrible, you know, through all that system. And I kind of stepped outside of the whole thing. And, you know, you look at it, folks, it's completely insane, this system that we're living in. And it's all through our tolerance of wrong behavior. It's all through this economic system. And I think they've done it. Like I said, time and time again, I think they've gone through this. Is anyone ever, many people here familiar with my work, some of the stuff I've done recently on ancient history and the fact that there was a civilization that existed before this civilization, folks, that existed right here, existed all around the world, and it was wiped out somehow. And it's not in our history books. And if you look at the even the local history of America here, you'll find that around about 1880, there were things called foundling homes, and there were orphan trains. And they shipped orphans, about 200,000 orphans from east to west across America per year. They shipped 100,000 out to Australia, out to New Zealand, out to Africa, and they repopulated the world with children around about 1880. And all the stories that we see of all the witchcraft and all these things and the scrying mirrors and the sigils and all this stuff, I think that these stories exist as a warning to tell us that when this stuff comes about, they're about to do it again. Because you look at what the internet's become. The internet, it started off as something that supports us and helps us. But really what it is it's gathering data. It's gathering data from everybody. And we're getting to a point now where we're losing all of our life skills and we're transferring it all into the virtual world. I saw on a news report on a website just yesterday, 34 things that they expect will be gone soon that you won't be using. Things like car keys, you know, things like keys for your house. It's all going to be digital. Everything's digital. It's all going smart. Everything's going smart. And it gets to that point that everything, our interface with reality, we have this digital interface between us and everyday actions. And all I have to do is shut the power out. And then that's it. People won't know how to do anything. You know, kids these days don't even know how to plant a seed. You know, you stick your finger in the ground, you put a seed in there and you pour some water on it. It's not difficult to plant a seed. They need to read a book on how to plant a seed. You've got kids leaving high school working in hardware stores that need to watch an extraction video on how to operate a tape measure. This is seriously the level of our education. So you think about it, once it all becomes smart and it's all transferred over to digital, you've got these digital interfaces for everything, then they can simply lock you out of it. And that's how they control you as well, because you know, people are scared of even losing their cell phone. When that cell phone is your access to your house and your access to your car and your access to your bank account and everything, and you get threatened for being locked out of it because of something you posted on Facebook 2 years ago. This is where we're going. And it's getting to that point now, like all the stuff that's been posted online ever since the internet started, it's all still there. Everything you've ever written, everything you've ever looked at, everything you've ever done online. It's all there. It's all been correlated, so they know everything about everybody already. Even if they haven't looked at it and put it all together, all you have to do is become a person of interest. And they do that. Like even when I applied for my ESTA to come into the United States this time, they wanted to know what my social media profiles were. That question's never been on a visa application to the United States before this year. Okay? This is since Christchurch. When Christchurch happened, I said, this is the beginning of the final move of the end game. It's going to bring in massive censorship. Within 3 weeks of that happening, we saw all this big cull on YouTube, all the main truth channels get replaced with CNN, all this stuff. All these things happened after that event because it was a real clincher event for them, and they blew it so freaking badly in that event. And that's something that really woke me up as well to the fact that there's a lot of people in the so-called truth movement who are really into the story. They're really into the adventure, and they're not into being active and seizing opportunities when we get them. Because the shooter's video in Christchurch showed the extra players, it showed the police involvement, it showed the whole lot on the video. And we could have used that to bring down not only the New Zealand government, the entire world media. If the so-called truth community had not wanted to lose face by saying, oh, I think it might not be a hoax, there might be actually something deeper in the video, and actually going for it, because that's what I did. I don't give a fuck what people think if they don't like what I say. I haven't got a monetized YouTube account. I don't care if I get views. And that's another thing when that happened. When YouTube got monetized, I said to people, this is going to turn the independent media into like the mainstream media, because what we're trying to do is get away from this economic system that enslaves us. And all they had to do was come and dangle a little carrot of monetization on your channel, and everyone's going to suddenly start sensationalizing their videos. It's all going to become about getting likes and getting clicks and getting views, and people are going to start really pushing it, and they're going to sever their ties with the real world, and they're going to start depending on YouTube for an income. And then as soon as they get threatened of losing that income, they're going to start self-censoring themselves in what they say. And if they do get locked out, that's it. They're going to be locked out, and they're going to burn all their bridges in the real world. I've never monetized anything on my channel because this isn't about any of that. It's about freedom, you know. And like I said, you can call it the truth movement if you want, but what is the truth? You know, the truth is that we don't know what the truth is. That's the fucking truth, okay? That's the truth is, and the truth is that the reason we don't know what the truth is because we're not free. The reason all these rabbit holes exist and all these things are there to distract us is because we're not free. So let's deal with that issue, and then we might establish what the truth is. But until we're free enough to find out, you can sprout off whatever you want. But what you're doing is you're reinforcing your belief system and trying to inflict it on someone else to get confirmation for your belief system, so you can stand there and say, yeah, I've got the truth. When the truth is you don't fucking know. You know, and this is about freedom, is what it's about. You know, and sure, we all need income. We all need income. We all need to, you know, stay. We've got to pay to be alive. We've got to eat. You know, I eat very little. I've managed to, I don't know, for some reason the universe has put me in this place. I've managed to land in this shed where I pay minimal rent. I've kind of in a position where I can just survive, and I don't really need an income. You know, all I need is enough to eat occasionally so I can maintain energy and just get the message out, because what this is about is freedom, and we are in dire, dire straits, folks. We really are. And if anybody thinks this is a popularity contest and all this sort of stuff, you know, they've got to get this out of their head, move out of the way, because this is about freedom. And we've got to use every means we can to establish this. It's all very well to want to move off YouTube and stuff as well, but I don't want to bring my audience to a new platform. I want to reach all the brain-dead plebs on YouTube who don't know what the truth is. I'm not interested in speaking to the choir. And every video that I do on YouTube, like every radio show I do, you might have noticed, I don't know whether you have, but I try to tailor every show. I assume that there's someone listening to this that has never heard this information before. They're completely asleep, they're in the matrix, and someone has just sent them this link, and they're listening to this guy's voice. So I'm not going to turn on a fire hose. I want to provide enough information that will get them interested, but have enough information in the clip so that a regular listener will get something new from the show. Because they're the people we've got to reach, folks. but it's got to be from here. You know, I often say we could change the world in 3 seconds. We really could. If everyone just had an epiphany and went, oh shit, I have value. I actually mean something. You know, there's only really one of us here. It's a single consciousness, experiencing itself subjectively, like Bill Hicks said. You know, I finish every radio show with In Lakesh. I am another yourself. I am you. You are me. And I guarantee all the shit that you've had in your life, I've had the same shit happen to me. You know, I'm nobody special. That's the whole point of the whole thing, that you don't have to be anybody special. You just got to be yourself and be prepared to be yourself. And realize that no one controls you. No, there is no authority. It's a fiction. It's a myth. Like I said, that's the biggest trick they ever played, thinking the power is with somebody else, waiting for someone to come and save us while we're walking between the lines. You know, people want someone to change the world. Shit, Max has just changed the world. I've got the newsletter that it's safe to go outside now. So I'm just going to go outside. I'm going to still go to my fucking job and pay my taxes and do all this shit I'm doing. What do people expect to change if they won't change themselves and change the way they interact with people? You know, since I started giving, I don't monetize anything. I don't sell anything. I wrote a book. I give it away. I make films. I give them away. And because of that, like I said, I've just kind of landed in this place. And this guy said, here's this shed. You can have it for the rest of your life. Cost you $100 a week. He wanted to give it to me for $50 a week. And I said, I can't possibly accept that. I'll give you $100. It cost me $450 a month to live, and for the rest of my life. And I'm free to do all this stuff. And all the money that I get and stuff that I get, I go and build water towers for natives in Peru. I give to people. I try to help people. I take people under my wing. I help people learn things, and I just give as much as I can. And I don't want for anything. Everything just falls into place for me. It's just, that's the way the universe works, because it's all an emotional mirror. The whole thing is an emotional mirror. You know, and I've changed my life by realizing that. You know, my life was a train wreck. I was my own worst enemy because I didn't believe in myself. And as soon as I changed that and I realized it was an emotional mirror, my whole life changed. If everybody did that and realized the true value of themselves, we could literally change the world in 3 seconds. We could. You know, if everyone just simply stopped complying with the system and changed their moral compass, we could change it in a day. You know, and if we got control of the education system, maybe we'd get somewhere with all this. I mean, we've got so much to you know, so many battles to fight, and we're being attacked on so many fronts. You know, but all of these things, I believe, are all a distraction from this, because as soon as you change this, the world changes around you, and if everybody did it, it'd be a ripple effect, and the world would change in a day. It's just no one's prepared to do it. I won't do it until I see someone else doing it. You know, you never get people to do that. But what you're saying is, no, you'll never get me to do that until I see someone else doing it. You know? But it's got to start here. If it doesn't start here, where does it start? You know, and when are people going to realize that what this is about is freedom? You know, don't tolerate wrong behavior, folks. Don't tolerate wrong behavior from anyone. And we tolerate it from our governments all the time. You know, all the time. And we can do what we can, but you've got to get active. People have got to get active. Get out and speak to people, meet people, help people. You know, do stuff like I'm doing, like what Mark's doing, like what Benny's doing, like what the guys who are running this place are doing. Just get involved. Get involved with people, folks. That's where the answer is. That's where the decisions are. And it's all with you, all of it. How am I for time? I've got no concept of time. I've got 5 minutes. I got a lot of stuff rattling around in there. You never know where it's going to go. But that's where it's got to start, folks. It's got to start with us. So, you know, even when you come to these conferences, you know, network with people, folks, because if you come here and you think, gee, I've made a difference because I went to that conference, no, you haven't. You know, you haven't done shit. You've got to come and get the information. You've got to apply it to your life is really what you've got to do. And support the people around you. Make a change in your own community with the people that you interact with every day. And trust me, the power of giving is incredible. It really is. Yeah, but don't give because you think, gee, if I do this, Max said if I give everything, the universe will look after me. No, you just fucked up right there because you think you're going to get looked after, you know? You know, I've always lived by the rules that there is one law of creation, which is unconditional love and service to creation, which is not service to others at the expense of yourself, not service to yourself at the expense of others. Not service to the earth at the expense of people, and not vice versa. Service to all creation. You know, life is a wondrous thing, folks. It's an incredible experience. You know, and all these little conspiracy rabbit holes that we go down, all these little aha moments we get when we think we've discovered the truth and all that sort of stuff, it's all irrelevant. The only truth you'll ever know is yourself. And the only way you're ever going to really do that is to have no stake in the outcome of any of this. You're only here for a breath. I've often said, what if this is a soul test? This is where you come to actually learn what you're really worth for what actually comes after. And what you have to be prepared to do is to be able to face infinity without flinching. Because you don't know what's coming next. And you see something there, oh, now I know. No, you don't. Because you don't know what's around the corner next. You know, you haven't got to that place yet. We all think we're getting to this place, you know, the journey to Ixtlan, as Castaneda called it, that journey to enlightenment. You know, people go on this path of wanting knowledge because they think they're going to get to this place where they're this incredibly enlightened being and they know all and they see all and all this stuff. Doesn't happen, folks. The journey is the place. And there's no shortcuts. You have to make the journey, and that's called life. You know, and it's whether you have a stake in the outcome of all this sort of shit. And why would you? Why would you even be scared of death? It's the only thing that you're guaranteed to do while you're here. And this life is so freaking short. I tell you, folks, I'm 62. I remember when I was 4. I remember stuff just, I remember being a teenager. It was just a couple of months ago. I remember it all. I remember my life so clearly. I've done so much shit, but I remember it all. It's such a short breath. You know, and what if the really important part about it is how you die, the spiritual state you're in, whether you had a stake in any of this, and how much evil you are prepared to tolerate before you'll say, no, I'm not going to do this shit anymore, because I didn't actually have to do it to begin with. Someone just tricked me because, again, they took that power. They thought that you thought the power was with someone else, but it's with you, and it's always been with you. So that's about it, folks, I think. And I think, thanks guys. And I think I have a workshop tomorrow, I think. I don't know what the time is yet. We're going to work that out. And there's a panel and something, and another panel on the following day as well. Thanks, folks. Thanks for listening.
Awesome job, bro. Awesome job.
Guys, we made it. We made it at the end of the whole day, and nobody died, and nobody's head exploded. I was a little nervous. How was everybody's first day here? Did you guys have a good time? Oh, that's all that matters, man. That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear that everybody came in here and, you know, felt like something might be changing within them. You know what I mean? We've had so many speakers talk about internal change being what creates the external change, and I feel like he just did it. He just knocked it out of the park with that one. Life is an emotional mirror. That's probably the realest shit you'll ever hear, besides, you know, 9/11 and all that other stuff. All right, so what we're going to do now is we have a, for those who purchase tickets and for all of the speakers, we're actually going to divide the venue. This side with the tables is going to be for the speakers and the people who did the dinner. And then this merch area / other vestibule is just for everyone else to hang out. And then that's going to be an hour. And then after that, we're going to have a hip-hop show that's going to go all night. We got a bunch of crazy rappers in the green room back there, you know what I mean, getting hype. They're like hyping each other up. They're like looking in the mirror like, yeah, I'm going to kill this shit. So it's going to be a good time. We're going to get the lights going, and it's going to be fun. So stick around for this next hour, and we're going to put on a nice show for you guys. Thanks for coming. I left my joint. Whoops.